Lin Moyu frowned slightly. The other party seemed to be targeting him deliberately. When he was still in the queue, he had noticed that the other party looked at him several times. The seemingly careless gaze was full of ridicule. The other party was wearing a robe with the logo of Hansui Holy Land on his body. From the aura he exuded, this was a Taoist master, the Taoist master of Hansui Holy Land. In this land belonging to Hansui Holy Land, no one dared to provoke the Taoist master of Hansui Holy Land. Lin Moyu was very sure that he did not know this Taoist master, and although this Taoist master stopped him, he obviously did not know him. Someone instructed him to do this. Why did he know that the person he wanted to stop was me? Lin Moyu's thoughts were like lightning, and he immediately realized that it should be related to Xiao Dong. Although Xiao Donging did not take action in Eugene City, he planted a mark on himself. And he guessed that he might go to Eugene, so he asked the Taoist master of Hansui Holy Land not to let him go. And he could not leave Eugene City. Once he left Eugene City, Xiao Dongkai would take action. In this way, he would lose the chance to obtain the Origin Sword energy. Without the Origin Sword energy, he could not use the Origin Sword energy to threaten Xiao Donging. Old fox! Lin Moyu cursed in his heart. This old fox who has lived for 1,000,000 years is really meticulous. Although he had guessed it, Lin Moyu still asked, why did the senior 167 stop me? The Taoist of Hansui Holy Land chuckled, no reason, just don't let you go. He was very unreasonable. Without any reason, he told Lin Moyu the answer directly in a domineering attitude. Lin Moyu frowned and said, I'm afraid it's unreasonable for the senior to do this. The other party laughed, you are a small Tianzuan, and you dare to reason with me here. Don't forget your identity. Here, the words of the master are the reason. Get out, if you dare to say another word of nonsense, I will kill you directly. This unreasonable Taoist, Lin Moyu, is not the first time to see. However, from his eyes, Lin Moyu can see that the other party is not like that. There was shrewdness hidden in his eyes, and even a hint of murderous intent. Lin Moyu's heart skipped a beat. He is deliberately provoking me. If I make the first move or insult him, he can justifiably attack me. Even the Daozuan elders of Hansui Holy Land must abide by the rules in Eugene City. He cannot take the initiative to attack me if I have not made any mistakes. The rules of Hansui Holy Land are very strict, and no matter who it is, they cannot violate them. If I make the first move or insult him with rude words, then he can attack me openly. The Daozuan cannot be insulted, especially the Daozuan of Hansui Holy Land. However, Lin Moyu also knew that the other party would definitely not kill him. At most, he would seriously injure him and then throw him out of Eugene City. The one who really killed him in the end must be Xiao Donging. Lin Moyu was not angry, but smiled. I wonder what your name is, senior. The other party was surprised by Lin Moyu's attitude, and he said coldly, what qualifications do you have to ask my name? Get out of here, you are getting in the way. Lin Moyu was still not angry, just smiled. It's Xiao Donging, right? Suddenly, the Taoist master's smile froze, but it only froze for less than half a second, and immediately shouted, what are you talking about? Get out. Although he didn't admit it, Lin Moyu already knew the answer from his expression. It was indeed Xiao Donging who bribed the other party to prevent him from getting the Origin Sword energy. Xiao Donging left the Wanling mark on himself, and then told the Daozuan of Hansui Holy Land the method of sensing the mark, so as not to let him go there and wipe out the last possibility of a comeback. As for Lufeng Chamber of Commerce, Xiao Donging must have known about it, but he couldn't get involved in the importance of Lufeng Chamber of Commerce. He must know that no matter what treasure it is, it will not pose any threat to the strong men above the fourth realm of Daozuan. So Xiao Donging didn't stop him from going to Lufeng Chamber of Commerce, and he didn't need to stop him. Only the Origin Sword energy is a variable. Xiao Donging will not let him go there. Xiao Donging even wanted to take the opportunity to get him out of Eugene City and kill him. Lin Moyu left, and left very cleanly, which surprised the other party. The Taoist master of Hansui Holy Land looked at Lin Moyu's receding figure. This kid is really extraordinary. He is not angry even at this level. But it doesn't matter. Just don't let him go. At this time, a Taoist master of Hansui Holy Land said beside him, Elder Mu, you drove people away in public like this. Aren't you afraid of being punished by the Holy Land? Elder Mu sneered, even if there is a punishment, how heavy can it be? This elder has done nothing but dislike him. This elder has a bad temper. If you want to punish him, then punish him. Their voices were heard by Lin Moyu, who thought to himself, he is surnamed Mu, an elder of a different surname, but he is quite courageous. Now he is very familiar with Hansui Holy Land, and knows that there are two types of elders in Hansui Holy Land. One type has the surname Gu, such as Gu Nianhai, who is the elder of the Gu family. The other type is the elders of other surnames. Although they are also elders, their actual power is far less than that of the elders of the original surname. Hansui Holy Land is, after all, the holy land of the Gu family, and power is naturally concentrated in its own hands. But after all, he is an elder, and he will not be punished too severely for doing something like today. Compared with the benefits given by Xiao Donging, a mere punishment is definitely nothing. You can use excuses such as bad mood, bad temper, etc. Lin Moyu sneered, your punishment will not be so light. He has now figured out all the situations in Nanzhou and knows the various rules of various forces. Each force has its own rules. Only by knowing the rules can you know how to play this game. Since Xiao Donging can bribe Elder Mu, he can also think of a way to deal with it. The solution Lin Moyu thought of is very simple, that is, to find someone. Back in the yard, Lin Moyu took out the private Jade card given by Guhan Yu and activated the Dao Thought in the card with his soul. Through the Dao Thought, Lin Moyu can directly communicate with Guhan Yu across billions of miles. In fact, without the Jade card, Lin Moyu can also contact Guhan Yu through Lian Lizi, but it is more troublesome, and it is more labor-saving to use the Jade card. Is the lady here? The influence of Lian Lizi is getting deeper and deeper. Lin Moyu has really regarded Guhan Yu as his wife. After a few breaths, Guhan Yu's voice sounded from the Jade card, I'm here. The sound of I'm here is full of tenderness. Obviously, Guhan Yu was also strongly influenced by Lian Lizi, otherwise, with her personality, she would never speak in this tone. Lin Moyu said, I have something to tell you. After a few breaths, Guhan Yu's beautiful voice sounded again, go ahead. Lin Moyu said, a Taoist wants to kill me. Where are you? I'll come over. Guhan Yu didn't even ask who wanted to kill Lin Moyu, let alone the other party's realm, but directly asked where Lin Moyu was and she wanted to come over. Lin Moyu could imagine the look of eagerness to save her husband. Lin Moyu smiled and said, no, I can handle it myself, but I have something here and I want to tell you. Guhan Yu said in a deep voice, who wants to kill you? Lin Moyu said, go to Dao sect, Xiao Donging. After a moment of silence, Guhan Yu asked again, Xiao Donging from 2 million years ago? Lin Moyu said, yes, it's that old guy who broke the seal to kill Jian. Guhan Yu's voice gradually became colder, it seems that they know that you are the son of Taiyin. Lin Moyu's words were a bit relaxed. In fact, I am very curious, how did they know that I was the son of Taiyin, but when I first met Xiao Donging, he was not completely sure that it was me. Guhan Yu said coldly, Xiao Donging comprehended the way of all spirits. He had dissected countless spirit beasts and gained many special abilities. Lin Moyu asked again, what exactly is the way of all spirits? Guhan Yu continued to explain, the way of all spirits is a very strange avenue. It can absorb the abilities of the blood of various creatures and turn their abilities into its own, but the success rate is hard to say, some are high and some are low. No wonder he dissected a large number of spirit beasts, because he wanted to gain blood abilities. Lin Moyu finally understood what Xiao Donging did. It's a pity that he didn't get the ability of the sky-swallowing rat, otherwise his achievements back then might be more than that. Suddenly Lin Moyu felt his soul vibrate, and an invisible breath suddenly descended into the soul world. Guhan Yu suddenly said, I know where you are, wait for me. Lin Moyu immediately called out, Crab. Lin Moyu just wanted to talk to Guhan Yu about what happened in Eugene City, and never thought that Guhan Yu would come. But he never thought that Guhan Yu would come like this, without giving himself a chance to object. Looking at the yard that was messed up by the two crazy girls, with a little helplessness, he waved his hand and took away all the things. Then a breeze blew, and the yard was as clean as new. Lin Moyu thought it was not enough, so he took some flowers from the big world and sprinkled them everywhere in the yard for decoration. In the blink of an eye, the yard was full of elegant flower fragrance. After doing all this, the helplessness in Lin Moyu's eyes did not retreat, but became more and more complicated. The effect of the Lian Lizi is too powerful, and it affects other people's thoughts unconsciously. What kind of power is this? Even Han Yu can't resist it. Guhan Yu is also deeply affected by the Lian Lizi like herself. If not, she would not rush over without saying a word. She is the master of the Holy Land, so she would never move at will. Lin Moyu asked the emperor to sort out a document about the Lian Lizi. There is very little information about the Lian Lizi, and only a few records. All the records mentioned its function, and it was not very clear. After Lin Moyu quickly read it, he found that it was useless. The functions in the records were not as well understood as he, the one who experienced it. Not long after, the temperature in the yard suddenly dropped a little. Lin Moyu's heart moved, and the door of the yard opened automatically, and Guhan Yu stood outside gracefully. Lin Moyu's eyes lit up. Guhan Yu changed her clothes today. Although not gorgeous, it was extremely delicate. The extremely close-fitting clothes perfectly showed her charming figure. The beautiful face, combined with the temperament like ice jade, set off Guhan Yu's beauty to a whole new height. Guhan Yu stepped into the yard with lotus steps, smelling the fragrance, and smiled a little. For a moment, the ice melted, and a touch of tenderness appeared in Guhan Yu's eyes. This tenderness was only for Lin Moyu, and she would not have it even when facing the Gu family's clansmen. Both of them knew that their love for each other was only because of the Lian Lizi. But knowing this, Lian Lizi still made the two recognize each other subconsciously. And the two sides are husband and wife, which is also a fact. As her first man, Lin Moyu has a completely different status from other men. Lin Moyu did not stand up, but smiled, thank you for your hard work, come and have some tea and cakes. Lin Moyu's words were like welcoming a family, naturally comfortable. Guhan Yu was not too polite, walked into the yard, came to Lin Moyu and sat down, took a sip of tea. Lin Moyu brewed iced tea, which came from the Ice Clan of the Great World. After the Ice Clan was destroyed, iced tea was retained. Lin Moyu smiled, are you used to it? Guhan Yu nodded slightly, it's still drinkable. The tea in the Great World is naturally not comparable to that in the Origin continent. With Guhan Yu's status and position, he usually drinks top-notch tea. Lin Moyu didn't care, actually, you don't have to come here, I can handle it. 0. Guhan Yu raised her eyebrows slightly, if you can handle it, you won't tell me. Lin Moyu smiled, because it's about Hansui Holy Land, I have to tell you, the master, otherwise if I do something out of the ordinary, it will make it difficult for you. Guhan Yu said, tell me about it. Lin Moyu told the whole story before and after Xiao Donging appeared. Guhan Yu frowned slightly, according to what you said, Elder Mu accepted Xiao Donging's benefits, so he deliberately made things difficult for you. Lin Moyu smiled, although I don't have direct evidence, I believe in my judgment. The elders in the Holy Land are in collusion with the elders in the Wendao sect, so I told you about this matter and let you make the decision. There have been conflicts between Hansui Holy Land and Wendao sect for many years. In history, the two sides have fought many battles. 0. Even if they are not mortal enemies, they can't stand together. The elders of the two were colluding with each other, so naturally it would not be allowed. Guhan Yu said, I will have someone investigate this matter. I will deal with Xiao Donging. Lin Moyu shook her head, don't worry about Xiao Donging's affairs, I will handle it myself. As the master of the Holy Land, it was the first time that Guhan Yu's words were directly opposed. If it were someone else, Yin Xiaoxiao would have been angry long ago. But the person in front of her was Lin Moyu, and she couldn't get angry at all. Not only was she not angry, but she was a little worried. "How are you going to solve it?" Lin Moyu said, "Of course I will kill him." Guhan Yu stared at Lin Moyu with her beautiful eyes. He was a Dao Zun 6th realm before he sealed himself. Even if he is now unsealed, he still maintains the cultivation of Dao Zun realm, and can also sublimate to the extreme, and restore the combat power of Dao Zun 6th realm in a short time. In addition, the Wanling Avenue is strange and changeable. With your strength, how can you win? Lin Moyu smiled slightly. "I naturally have a way. Don't forget, you didn't kill me at that time, right?" Guhan Yu was stagnant and couldn't refute for a while. Even she couldn't kill Lin Moyu, but she was a real Dao Zun 6th realm, no worse than Xiao Donging in his heyday. But the situation at that time was different. Guhan Yu still couldn't feel at ease, but Lin Moyu seemed to have made a decision, and she couldn't refute it. Guhan Yu's eyes turned, and her tone changed accordingly, with a hint of coquettishness in her tone, which seemed to become softer, but more difficult to refuse. "No, I'm still worried. Should I go kill Xiao Donging right now?" Guhan Yu seemed to be about to take action. As long as Xiao Donging was still in Eugene City, Guhan Yu would have a way to find him. With Guhan Yu's ability, it should not be difficult to kill Xiao Donging, who broke the seal. But Lin Moyu didn't think so. Xiao Donging dared to appear here. He must have a backup plan. Even if you take action, you may not be able to kill him, and Hanshui Holy Land and Wendao sect have finally been at peace for these years. It's not a good thing to break it easily for me. Guhan Yu raised her eyebrows. Lin Moyu's words made her uncomfortable. Unconsciously, Lin Moyu's position in her mind has changed. Lin Moyu asked, "Do others know that you are here this time?" Guhan Yu shook his head. "No one knows." Lin Moyu had a plan in mind. "If that's the case, then I have an idea. Xiao Donging should have two ways to kill me. One is to find a way to drive me out of Eugene City, and then he can kill me unscrupulously. The second method is to wait for me to arrive in Dong Joo by boat and kill me there, but that would be a lot of trouble. There is a saying that the longer the night, the more dreams there are. As long as there is a possibility, Xiao Donging will definitely choose the first method. In this case, I want to use myself as bait to lure Xiao Donging out of Eugene City, and then kill him outside. You can protect me in secret, and if I am defeated, you can take action again. I have contacted Xiao Donging twice. This person is very cautious. If I leave the city directly, it will inevitably arouse suspicion. We need to think of a way." Guhan Yu listened carefully and did not interrupt. In her eyes, Lin Moyu at this time has a strange charm. Although Lin Moyu's realm is not high, he looks confident, as if Xiao Donging has been arranged by him clearly. Thinking of himself, he has been calculating for many years. Especially after becoming the master of the Holy Land, he prefers to be straightforward and crush his opponents with his absolute strength. It makes sense. With Lin Moyu's current strength, if he wants to survive safely in the origin continent, he must be calculating sometimes. Guhan Yu thought to himself, did he calculate me in the same way at that time? His failure at that time was due to various reasons, and it is difficult to explain clearly. Some of them were Lin Moyu's calculations, and some were luck. Even if he did it again, it would be difficult to reproduce the shit. Guhan Yu also thought about whether it was right or wrong to use the Lian Lizi, but the matter was done, and there was obviously no chance to regret. Lin Moyu quickly formulated a complete plan. While Guhan Yu was here, he would turn the passive into the active and kill Xiao Donging. My plan should be fine. The only trouble now is that if Xiao Donging died here, how would the Dao sect react? Guhan Yu sneered, no matter how they react, if they want to start a war, this Saint Lord will accompany them to the end. Lin Moyu said, once the war starts, lives will be lost, and many people will die every time. Guhan Yu said, practitioners are against the will of heaven. From the moment they embark on this path, they are prepared to die in battle at any time. Lin Moyu said, okay, then follow my plan and kill Xiao Donging. Guhan Yu nodded, okay, I'm in your world of rules. If there is any danger, I will take action at any time. Squeak! The gate of the courtyard was pushed open, and Xiaoye and Xiao Wu rushed in with laughter. Suddenly, the two were stunned on the spot. The situation in the courtyard had changed drastically. It was as clean as new and full of flowers. Two pairs of bright big eyes stared at the peerless Guhan Yu. Guhan Yu's temperament is far beyond the reach of ordinary people. Xiaoye felt that she was like an ugly duckling standing in front of Guhan Yu, and said cutely, "Big sister is so beautiful." Xiao Wu was very nervous. "Master, who is this beautiful big sister?" Lin Moyu introduced, "Guhan Yu, my wife. This little girl who never grows up is called Xiao Wu, and her name is Xiao Yu, my disciple, the only disciple." When Xiao Wu heard that Guhan Yu was actually Lin Moyu's wife, she immediately changed her words, "So it's the mistress, I don't like to see the mistress." She looked flattering at this time, but her acting skills were not very good, and she couldn't hide it from Guhan Yu at all, and she knew it was fake at a glance. Xiao Yu was sincere and bowed to Guhan Yu. "Xiao Yu greets the master's wife." She was about to kneel down, but was stopped by an invisible force, and she couldn't run away. Lin Moyu said, "Be sincere, no need to kneel." Guhan Yu also smiled and said, "Indeed, there is no need to kneel. We cultivators only kneel to our parents. Even the sky is not worthy of our kneeling. People who cultivate have a firm heart of Taoism, and the sky is used to defy, so how can they kneel? For the master and elders, it is enough to be sincere." Xiaoye said, "Thank you for the master's teachings, Xiaoye understands." Xiao Wu also interrupted, "Xiaoji also understands." Guhan Yu looked at the cute Xiaoye and the quirky Xiaolu, and couldn't help but smile. She gently lifted her palm upwards and immediately took out two swords. The two swords are exactly the same. Just looking at the aura they exude, both swords have reached the Tianzuan realm, and they are not ordinary Tianzuan realms. Each sword is inlaid with 9 origin crystals, and they are all 5th-level boutique origin crystals. These are two magic weapons that can drive attacks without realms. Guhan Yu smiled and said that only 2 swords were a gift. Xiao Wu jumped up happily, "Thank you, mistress. This guy never refuses anyone, and his thickness is second only to Lin Moyu." Xiaoye took the sword from Guhan Yu after getting Lin Moyu's permission, and saluted, "Thank you, mistress." Guhan Yu looked at Xiaoye, his eyes slightly shining. The belt on Xiaoye is not ordinary. Although Xiaoye's jade belt was hidden, it still could not hide from Guhan Yu's eyes. The magic weapon that can be inlaid with 18 origin crystals has reached the level of Dao Zun. This kind of magic weapon that does not need to be driven by its own realm is much more precious than ordinary Dao Zun realm magic weapons. Even the Hansui Holy Land can't produce a few pieces. Lin Moyu smiled and said, "This is a gift from Xiaoye's other master. Xiaoye has 2 masters, and I am just the king among them." Guhan Yu looked at Xiaoye. Xiaoye is blessed with great fortune. She can be favored by 2 masters. It seems that the master must be extraordinary. Lin Moyu saw that there was a fire of gossip burning in Guhan Yu's eyes. After all, in the origin continent, there are not many people who have 2 masters for 1 disciple. Lin Moyu couldn't help laughing and said, "Madam, don't guess randomly. Xiaoye's other master is the one in the Leishan Mountains." Guhan Yu was a little surprised. "I didn't expect it was that person, no wonder." Guhan Yu suddenly stared at Lin Moyu. "The magic weapon that hurt me before was also given by that person." Lin Moyu smiled. "Besides him, how many people in this world can hurt you? And you can't blame me, I was always passive, including the matter of Lian Lizi." "Shut up!" Guhan Yu interrupted Lin Moyu with a hurried shout. Xiao Wu looked at Guhan Yu strangely. "Madam, why is your face red?" Guhan Yu did not answer, and silently went over to buy. Lin Moyu saw Xiao San sticking his head out of Xiao Yu's clothes pocket with a sly look, and then quickly retracted it. Relying on the protection of Xiao Yu's jade clothes, Guhan Yu did not even notice Xiao San's existence. The origin of the moon reoccupies the sky, and the moon symbol shines between Lin Moyu's eyebrows. Guhan Yu looks at Lin Moyu with a smile. She is actually looking at the moon symbol. Lin Moyu asks, "Have you never seen the moon symbol before?" Guhan Yu says, "I have only seen it in the records, and this is the first time I have seen it with my own eyes." "Don't move, let me take a look." Lin Moyu says with a smile, "What is so good about this?" Guhan Yu says, "You are still at a low level, and you don't understand many things. This thing is called the origin of the Tao pattern. If you can study it thoroughly, it will be of great benefit." Lin Moyu asks, "What are the benefits? Tell me about it." Guhan Yu rolls her eyes at Lin Moyu. "It is just recorded that there are great benefits, but I don't know what the specific benefits are. Anyway, don't move, let me take a look." Lin Moyu can't do anything with her. Okay, take your time to look." He drank tea and ate cake slowly. Guhan Yu was a little fascinated. Lin Moyu stuffed a piece of cake into her mouth, but she didn't react. She chewed and ate it instinctively. At this moment, Guhan Yu's beautiful face also revealed a bit of cuteness, which was a bit funny. Guhan Yu looked at the Tying talisman, while Lin Moyu was admiring the beauty. After a long time, Guhan Yu sighed, "It seems that I don't have the opportunity. I can't understand the origin of the Tao pattern for the time being." Lin Moyu asked, "What exactly is the pattern?" Guhan Yu said, "The Tao pattern is the understanding of the Tao by each practitioner. The Tao that is understood will form the Tao pattern. When the Tao pattern covers the whole body, it will begin to merge into the soul." 1. In Guhan Yu's explanation, Lin Moyu finally knew what Tao patterns were. Tao patterns are one's own comprehension of the great Tao. The deeper one's comprehension, the stronger one's power and the higher one's realm. When one becomes a Tao master, the first Tao pattern will form in the body. As the realm is raised, the patterns will increase. At first, Tao patterns only exist in the flesh and blood under the skin. When the flesh and blood are full of Tao patterns, they will enter the bones, and finally the blood and soul. In terms of realm, the number of Tao patterns in the flesh and blood represents the first to third realms of Tao master. When the flesh and blood are full of Tao patterns, one can reach the fourth realm of Tao master and summon the true body of the great Tao. Afterwards, Tao patterns will appear on the bones. When the Tao patterns cover every inch of the bones, it is the fifth realm of Tao Zun. Then the Tao patterns enter the internal organs and blood vessels. When the internal organs and blood vessels are also covered with Tao patterns, it is the sixth realm of Tao Zun. At this moment, the practitioner is called a Tao body. Then the Tao patterns enter the soul. Only one Tao pattern needs to enter the soul to immediately reach the seventh realm of Tao Zun. Until the soul is also covered with Tao patterns, it is the ninth realm of Tao Zun. The ninth realm of Tao Zun is also called the Great Tao Body, where both the body and the soul are fully accomplished. Guhan Yu is not sure about the next realm. It is a legendary realm, mysterious and mysterious. Lin Moyu thought of the great figure standing in the avenues above the stars in the sky that he had seen by chance before. Perhaps that was the realm above the ninth realm of Tao Zun. Lin Moyu talked with Guhan Yu for a long time and learned a lot of information from Guhan Yu. This information is very important and can help him understand this world in depth. Unconsciously, the power of the Tying origin began to weaken. The origin began to alternate, and it would not take long for the Sun origin to replace the Tying origin and become the master of this world. The Tying talisman on Lin Moyu's brow was also gradually weakening. Guhan Yu said, "Let's start." Lin Moyu nodded and said to Xiaoye and Xiaowu, "Go to the world of rules." The two girls were very obedient and went straight into the world of rules. Then Lin Moyu said to Guhan Yu, "It's your turn." Guhan Yu hummed, stepped lightly with lotus steps, and also entered the world of rules. Allowing Guhan Yu to enter his own world of rules is Lin Moyu's greatest trust in her. Similarly, Guhan Yu's willingness to enter Lin Moyu's world of rules is also the greatest trust in Lin Mo. Lin Moyu stood up, staring at the origin of Tying without blinking, and his whole body was in a tense state. At the moment when the Tying talisman between his eyebrows disappeared, Lin Moyu rushed out of the yard. At this time, a pair of cold eyes appeared on the only 10,000-meter ice tower in the city. Xiao Donging appeared from the darkness and stared at Lin Moyu. Finally, I can't help it. A cruel smile appeared at the corner of his mouth, but he didn't act immediately. He was very cautious. He wanted to see if Lin Moyu really wanted to leave or just lied to him. Lin Moyu rushed into a blind spot between the ice tower and the site of the ice tower. In just a moment, 3 identical Lin Moyu appeared in Eugene City. 3 Lin Moyu, and flew in different directions at the same time. Xiao Donging looked at them coldly, with a hint of disdain in his tone. You want to use this to get away, but you are too idealistic. You dare to show off your tricks in front of me. 3 Lin Moyu entered Xiao Donging's blind spot again, and then they were divided into factories again. 1 became 3, and 3 became 9. In a blink of an eye, there were 9 Lin Moyu moving in Eugene City. Soon, the 9 Lin Moyu were divided into 3 again, and the number from 9 became 27. Xiao Donging's eyes were still full of disdain. It's quite divisible, but it's useless to me. 27 Lin Moyu kept approaching the outside of Eugene City. During this process, he completed another clone, from 27 to 81. A total of 81 Lin Moyu rushed out of Eugene City one after another, leaving in different directions, and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. Just 1 second after Lin Moyu left, Xiao Donging's figure appeared outside Eugene City. A great road emerged on his body, and countless creatures rose and fell in the heavenly way. In an instant, one illusory creature after another rushed out of the road, flew in all directions, and chased Lin Moyu. These illusory creatures were all spirit beasts he had dissected. After death, he was integrated into the road and achieved the great Tao of all spirits. These creatures evolved from the power of the road are all Dao Zoom realm, and their speed is very fast. In a blink of an eye, they caught up with Lin Moyu's clones. Lin Moyu's clones had no resistance to the Dao Zoom realm of the Dao creatures, and were killed in a blink of an eye. Lin Moyu's real body sensed that his clone was killed, but he was not panicked at all. Instead, he showed a faint sneer, finally caught up with him. He took out the Feiyun boat and let Huang Xing control it to fly away. Although Feiyun boat was not good at speed, it was still much faster than Lin Moyu, who was only in the Tianzuan realm. Xiao Donging saw Feiyun boat and then saw Huang Xing controlling it, and immediately knew that this was Lin Moyu's real body. A waste of Daozuan realm is your reliance? Xiao Donging's consciousness moved, and several creatures flew out of the avenue and quickly chased after him. These creatures were all in the Daozuan realm, and their combat power was not weaker than Huang Xing. Xiao Donging's eyes were filled with murderous intent, and he had to die. The space around Lin Moyu was slightly distorted, and Pejuan appeared beside him with Pejuan gun in his hand, and stabbed at the creatures on the avenue. Pejuan's fighting power was several times stronger than Huang Xing's, approaching the 2nd level of Dao Zun. Pejuan thrust out his spear, evolving into spear shadows all over the sky, piercing through the Dao creatures one after another, causing them to collapse on the spot. Xiao Donging raised his eyebrows. I didn't expect that there is a Dao Zun. But relying on this, you can escape and ascend to heaven. It's just a dream. The Wanling Avenue shook, and more creatures rushed out, more and stronger than before. At the same time, Xiao Donging slowly chased Lin Moyu. He seemed slow, but in fact he was very fast, and quickly approached Lin Moyu. The illusory creature of the avenue was faster than him, and caught up with Faiyanzu in one step. Pejuan waved Pejuan gun to block the creature of the avenue. Lin Moyu shouted at Huang Xing, all strength, fly faster. Huang Xing surged with stronger power, and Faiyanzu also accelerated slightly. Xiao Donging chuckled, it's useless, you can't escape. Lin Moyu didn't answer, but just kept asking Huang Xing to speed up. From his expression, he seemed a little panicked. Xiao Donging turned into a hunter at this moment, and Lin Moyu is his prey, and he seems to enjoy the process of hunting his prey. Xiao Donging gradually became excited, like a flame that had been dormant for countless years, and it was rekindled again. Hurry up, you can't escape like this. If I catch you, you're dead. I will slowly dissect you. I have dissected countless spirit beasts and countless people, but this is the first time I dissect the son of Tyene. It's your great blessing to be dissected by me. Gradually, Xiao Dongsheng's flame was completely activated, and his shouting became more and more crazy. Lin Moyu's heart moved. He actually dissected people. It's really crazy. This guy, when he was chasing others before, did he also shout like this? This person is abnormal. He is a lunatic. Lin Moyu has a deeper understanding of Xiao Donging. The Xiao Donging in front of him was completely different from the Xiao Donging in the information. The Xiao Donging in the information was a bit mysterious, low-key, and powerful. But the Xiao Donging in front of him was full of madness, almost insane. It doesn't matter if he is just a madman, as long as he chases you, it doesn't matter what you are. Pajun fought fiercely with the Dao creatures, firmly blocking the Dao creatures, as if he had become Lin Moyu's last line of defense. Huang Xing accelerated the Feiyun boat with all his strength, and in a blink of an eye, he had left Eugene City for nearly 10,000 kilometers. Xiao Donging didn't catch up, as if he wanted to wait a little longer before taking action. Lin Moyu didn't want to wait any longer. He suddenly turned around and pointed a finger into the void. The skeleton hell emerged, instantly covering thousands of kilometers of heaven and earth. The world changed, and behind Lin Moyu became the world of the skeleton hell. A winding hellfire river flowed out, dividing into countless streams, covering the entire world. Countless hellish evil spirits sank and floated in the fire river. The fireballs in the air continued to sprinkle flames, falling into the hellfire river like raindrops. On both sides of the fire river were purple flowers, enchanting and beautiful. Xiao Dongsheng's Dao creatures, including himself, were shrouded in the skeleton hell. This is... Xiao Dongsheng frowned. He seemed to have heard of such a scene somewhere. He looked up and his face suddenly changed. This is impossible. At the end of the Hellfire River, he saw a huge portal, the Gate of Hell. How could the legendary Gate of Hell appear here? It must not be true, not true. Xiao Dongsheng was already in a state of madness, and at this time, stimulated by the Gate of Hell, it was even more so. He waved his hand, and a huge force blasted out from his sleeves, and countless cracks appeared in the skeleton hell, almost shattered. The power of this blow was already the peak of the Daozuan realm, more powerful than Pejuan. The Eye of Hell opened and looked at Xiao Dongsheng. A muffled groan sounded, and Xiao Dongsheng's soul was shocked and felt very uncomfortable. After he broke the seal, his realm fell, and his body and soul were no longer the same as before. If it were in the past, the Eye of Hell would be like a breeze blowing on his face, and it would not have any effect at all. But it is not the case now. The Eye of Hell still has a certain impact on him, causing his actions to stagnate for a moment. At this moment, the evil spirits of hell rushed over, surrounded Xiao Dongsheng, and bit him hard. At the same time, the red spider lily bloomed with purple light, weakening Xiao Dongsheng's combat power. Xiao Dongsheng felt weak, and his strength had been affected. Just a moment of stagnation, the battle situation changed completely. The evil spirits of hell kept surrounding him, and also surrounded the great Dao creatures. The great Dao creatures shook the evil spirits of hell away, but they could never really kill them. After Xiao Dongsheng came to his senses, he felt insulted. A low-level Tianzuan guy could actually affect him. This is all fake, get out of here. Xiao Dongsheng roared, but the roar was not from a human voice, but from some kind of spirit beast. Behind him, a huge spirit beast in the shape of a bear appeared, roaring to the sky. The roar was like a wave, completely overturning the skeleton hell. The skeleton hell exceeded its endurance limit and shattered. Lin Moyu knew that this roar should be the secret method of the bear spirit beast, which was obtained by Xiao Dongsheng and became his secret method. Then, Xiao Dongsheng roared again, more violently than before. The sound waves were visible to the naked eye, and the distorted space swept over. Lin Moyu's face changed. Block it. Pujuan rushed out of Feiyun Pan, and Pujuan's spear stabbed out, evolving into a 100-meter giant spear in the void, facing the challenge. Boom! The loud noise was deafening, and Pujuan was blown away with his spear. In terms of power, Pujuan was completely defeated. However, the sound wave was also weakened by Pujuan's block, but it only shook the Feiyun boat. Pujuan flew back from a distance, with multiple injuries on his body, and the bones in his right hand were broken. He was not feeling well from the collision just now. Lin Moyu used his life force to quickly treat Pujuan. At this time, the bear spirit beast behind Xiao Donging roared to the sky again. The third attack was stronger than the previous two. There was no time to speak. Lin Moyu gave orders with his mind. Feiyun boat disappeared in an instant and was taken away by him. Huangxing rushed towards Xiao Donging at the fastest speed at the same time, and Pujuan took Lin Moyu away quickly at the same time. Boom! Huangxing hit the sound wave and was immediately torn to pieces by the sound wave. Immediately afterwards, there was a big explosion. Huangxing died, and as a resurrected person, he immediately exploded after death. Although Huangxing's realm was weak, he was only at the Daozuan realm, and he was just a weakling in the Daozuan realm. But he is a Daoist master after all. Once he explodes, the power will be amazing enough. The powerful energy swept the world, and Xiao Donging's attack was annihilated in the explosion, and he was also blown away. Xiao Donging finally stabilized. His clothes were torn in many places, revealing his old body, and he had suffered some minor injuries. Asshole, asshole, you dare to hurt me, I will kill you, cut you into pieces, and put your soul and blood on the fire of the great Tao for 10,000 years. Xiao Donging was completely angry. He flew towards Lin Moyu, much faster than before, and caught up with him in almost an instant. At this moment, his aura reached the second level of Daoist Master. Pujuan took the initiative to attack. Xiao Donging waved his sleeves, and Pujuan was thrown away with a bang, unable to stop at all. Xiao Donging slapped Lin Moyu with a palm. Die. Xiao Donging's angry palm was overwhelming, and his playful heart disappeared. Xiao Donging was full of murderous intent. The second level of Dao Zun is indeed much stronger than the first level. Lin Moyu knew that he could block this palm, and the undead army could fully withstand it, but the casualties would not be small. There was no need to bear this palm. The void twisted, and the temperature dropped sharply in an instant, as if the world was about to be frozen. Even the palm that Xiao Donging hit was covered with a thin layer of ice. An iceberg appeared behind Lin Moyu, and the mountain knife blocked Xiao Dongkai's palm firmly. The ancestor of the Yin family appeared beside Lin Moyu, staring at Xiao Donging with cold eyes. The ancestor of the Yin family, a powerful person in the third level of Dao Zun, was killed by Lei Yiming at that time, and his body fell into Lin Moyu's hands. When formulating a plan to deal with Xiao Donging, Lin Moyu turned him into a resurrected person. Xiao Donging's eyes suddenly changed. There is actually a Dao Zun. It's fine that Huangxing and Pujuan are working for Lin Moyu, but I didn't expect that there is a Dao Zun level 3 strongman. Lin Moyu smiled slightly. It's not that easy to kill me. Xiao Donging didn't expect that Lin Moyu had so many tricks up his sleeve. His eyes were cold, and his aura gradually rose. In a blink of an eye, he had reached the Dao Zun level 3, which was even stronger than the Yin family's ancestor. Lin Moyu felt the changes in Xiao Donging and knew that he was already sublimating himself, but he had not yet reached the level of extreme sublimation. To sublimate power, lifespan is required as a price. When the extreme sublimation broke out, Xiao Donging couldn't hold on for too long. In this state, he can hold on for a longer time. Xiao Donging wanted to kill Lin Moyu to gain Lin Moyu's luck and suppress his own lifespan. He wanted to kill Lin Moyu at the lowest price possible. But he didn't know that Lin Moyu also wanted to kill him. Lin Moyu calculated Xiao Donging, guiding him to increase his strength little by little and consume his lifespan. Consume a part first, so that after he sublimates to the extreme, the time he can maintain will be greatly reduced. The ancestor of the Yin family flew away from Lin Moyu, and the avenue evolved, turning into a slamming towards Xiao Dongwang. Xiao Dongqing's body was quickly covered with a layer of ice, as if he was about to be frozen. Fire! Xiao Dongqing roared, the avenue of all spirits shook, and a big bird with a body bathed in fire flew out and fell into Xiao Dongqing's body. In an instant, Xiao Dongqing turned into a fireman, and the ice melted quickly. Flames burned the sky. Accompanied by a low shout, Xiao Dongqing turned into a firebird and soared into the sky, hitting the glacier heavily. With a loud bang, a huge hole was knocked out of the glacier, and the ancestor of the Yin family flew back, and Xiao Dongqing crashed through the glacier and reached the sky. Under the shining of the sun's origin, he was majestic, like a god. Suddenly, a spear shadow fell from the sky, and Pejuan returned with Pejuan's spear in hand, stabbing out with all his strength. At the same time as the spear was fired, a drop of ancestral water exploded on Pejuan's body, and Pejuan's aura increased sharply, breaking through the limit of the first realm and reaching the second realm. Go to hell! Xiao Dongqing's whole body was ablaze, and the world suddenly became a sea of fire, and Pejuan was swallowed by the flames at the same time. With his cultivation of the first realm of Daozun, he could not stop the flames at all, and his body quickly collapsed. But he was fearless of life and death, and the spear was still as powerful as ever, blasting a road in the sea of fire like a broken bamboo. Xiao Dongqing was shocked by Pejuan's momentum. His cultivation is not very good, but he is not afraid of death. He waved his hand, the fire bird flapped its wings, and the sea of fire rose, and the fire dragon swept towards Pejuan. Pejuan roared, threw the spear fiercely, and collided with the fire dragon. The fire dragon exploded, and Pejuan's spear was blown away in the flames. Pejuan broke through the flames and crashed into Xiao Dongkai at an astonishing speed. At this moment, he turned into a spear and almost merged with the avenue. Xiao Dongqing's face suddenly changed, and he suddenly thought of the scene of Huangxing's self-explosion when he died. He instinctively wanted to retreat, but it was too late. Boom! Pejuan died, self-exploded. The power of the self-explosion was much stronger than that of Huangxing. With the effect of Zushui, the power of the self-explosion was further amplified, equivalent to the self-explosion of a cultivator in the Daozuan Earth realm. Xiao Dongqing screamed, and the whole person was blown away, and the flames were almost extinguished. A glacier pressed down on Xiao Dongqing's head, without giving him any chance to react, and hit him hard. There was another scream, and Xiao Dongqing fell to the ground with a bang, leaving a huge pit in his eyes. The pit was hundreds of meters deep, and water flowed out from the bottom of the pit. Xiao Dongqing was extremely embarrassed at this moment, with wounds all over his body and his clothes were tattered. Lin Moyu stared at Xiao Dongqing and found that Xiao Dong's wounds had not recovered. Even the wounds caused by Huangxing still exist now. It's just that not much blood flowed out, only some tiny bloodlines. Is this the price of self-sealing? Life force is exhausted, even the wounds on the body cannot be healed. He didn't take the elixir, is it because the elixir doesn't work? 0, please give flowers. And he didn't use the protective magic weapon, is it because he doesn't need the protective magic weapon because his realm is high, or because he can't seal the magic weapon when he seals himself? Lin Moyu's mind was full of speculations. From the beginning of the battle to now, in just a few minutes, all the scenes flashed in his mind. Lin Moyu got a lot of information. The Yin family ancestor did not stop, and the glacier fell like a meteor again. Boom! The earth shook, and countless cracks appeared, circling hundreds of kilometers. After the glacier hit once, it suddenly stopped there and did not move. A huge breath rose from the pit, and in the center of the pit, Xiao Dongqing transformed into a giant hand and held the glacier firmly. Xiao Dongqing's breath was boiling, and countless creatures evolved and changed around him. Dao Zhenchen. Xiao Dongqing finally used the Dao Zhenchen, and his realm had been raised to the 5th realm of Daozun, only one realm away from his former peak. The extreme sublimation was at least 70%, and Lin Moyu could clearly sense that Xiao Donging's vitality was rapidly draining away. This feeling is very strange, and it cannot be sensed under normal circumstances. At Xiao Donging's current speed of life loss, Xiao Donging will really die in an hour at most. In this case, Xiao Donging will not waste a minute or a second, and will definitely kill himself with all his strength. Lin Moyu's eyes were filled with fighting intent. The real battle begins now. Xiao Donging's killing intent rose, and he punched out, shattering it with a loud bang. The avenue collapsed, and the ancestor of the Yin family was blown away by the majestic force, almost dying on the spot. Xiao Donging ignored the ancestor of the Yin family and looked at Lin Moyu. Go to hell. He turned into a tiger and rushed towards Lin Moyu. The true body of the avenue of Wanling Avenue is also unpredictable and can have countless appearances. He is so fast that Lin Moyu can't compare at all. A treasured robe appeared on Lin Moyu's body, and the treasure was shining. The imitation of the heavenly Dao cloth was fully activated and could block the attack of the fourth realm of Dao Zone for 10 minutes. Xiao Donging slammed into Lin Moyu with a majestic force, and the heavenly Dao cloth made a sound like breaking glass. This blow has exceeded the limit of the heavenly Dao cloth, and it was almost broken with just one blow. As long as there is another blow, the heavenly Dao cloth will inevitably collapse. Lin Moyu was blown away, but he was not panicked at all. He took out a Dao Immortal pill and threw it into his mouth, and at the same time a majestic aura rose from his body. Origin of the art, concentrate. Lin Moyu's realm climbed up step by step, breaking through at an astonishing speed. Intermediate heavenly venerable, high heavenly venerable, peak heavenly venerable. With a slight sound, Lin Moyu reached the Daozuan realm. At this moment, Lin Moyu had a strange feeling, as if there was a strange connection between him and the Dao. The once illusory Dao became dozens of times clearer at this moment. Even if he had not truly comprehended the Dao and had no Dao patterns in his body, Lin Moyu felt that he could still mobilize some of the power of the Dao. So this is the Daozuan. There is more than one way to become a Daozuan, and now the way he became a Daozuan is the same as those spirit beasts. Without comprehending any Dao, he can also call on the power of the Dao. Some powerful spirit beasts are not weaker than practitioners of the same realm. Xiao Donging was shocked. Original magic, how can you have the origin magic 023? Lin Moyu ignored him, but felt the wonder of power. Before, the limit of his power concentration was the high-level Tianzuan, which was only a hair's breadth away from the peak of Tianzuan. The high-level Tianzuan is the limit of his soul and body, not the limit of power concentration. With tens of billions of undead legions, all the power gathered in one body, how could the limit be just as simple as the high-level Tianzuan? Now with the help of the Dao Immortal Pill, the body and soul will be immortal in 10 minutes, and then you can fully demonstrate the power of concentration. Tens of billions of undead, the power is constantly gathering, and the realm is still continuously improving. The first realm of Daozuan is just the beginning, far from the end. The second and third realms of Daozuan. Boom! Lin Moyu's soul shattered, breaking through the fourth realm of Daozuan. It was a completely different feeling. Lin Moyu felt that he had a new connection with the heavenly Dao. He could mobilize more power and it was more concentrated. The three avenues of immortality, space, and time emerged at the same time. After entering the origin continent, the Starlight Loft fell into silence. Although it still existed, it could no longer be mobilized. After learning about the origin continent, he realized that the Starlight Law had no corresponding avenue on the origin continent, so it lost its effect. But it was not completely useless. If it could get the inheritance of a certain Star Lord, the Starlight Law might be rejuvenated. Unlike other Dao Zone, the Dao moves around the body. Lin Moyu's three avenues were still at his feet. It seemed that Lin Moyu was standing on the avenue, with an illusion of being high above. The power of the avenues in the three avenues surged at the same time, and a powerful figure emerged in each of the avenues. The figure was centered on Lin Moyu's will and hit wherever he pointed. The whole process was completed naturally. Lin Moyu said to himself, so this is the true body of the avenue. Use your own power as a medium, summon the power of the great Tao to condense your true body, and mobilize the 5 great Taos in both movement and stillness. I have 3 great Taos, which means that I have 3 great Tao true bodies. It's a pity that I can't merge them. At this time, Lin Moyu's realm has reached the 5th realm of Dao Zun, and it is the peak of the 5th realm, just a line away from the 6th realm. The power of the Undead Legion has all gathered together, but this is not Lin Moyu's limit. Another strange breath rises from Lin Moyu's body. Original magic, strong soldiers. It has been a long time since I used this original magic. Strong soldiers can increase his combat power tenfold while keeping his realm unchanged. Lin Moyu didn't know whether his combat power reached the 6th realm of Dao Zun after using strong soldiers, but at least it was stronger than before. Immediately afterwards, 10 drops of ancestral water flew out and landed on his body, and Lin Moyu's breath suddenly increased sharply. Countless powers of faith burned fiercely, and the whole world became his backing, continuously providing powerful powers of faith, pushing his power forward again. This state is Lin Moyu's strongest state, the real extreme combat state. Xiao Donging was completely stunned. How could this happen? How did he do it? How did he do it? His thoughts were in a mess, and he couldn't imagine how Lin Moyu did it. He was obviously a low-level Tianzuan. How could he suddenly transform into a terrifying bloody slaughterer of the 5th realm of Daozuan? Even if there were source techniques, it would not be so outrageous. No, this is not outrageous, but a miracle. No, it's not so perverted. Xiao Donging was so shocked that he even forgot that Lin Moyu had used 2 source techniques before and after. Boom! Lin Moyu's body was ignited with raging flames, and the immortal body exploded. Then, a figure on the immortal avenue flew out and merged with Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu summoned the immortal avenue's true body, and he turned into a gray and white giant. Gray represents death, white represents vitality, and on the outside, it is wrapped in golden flames. This feeling is really good. Lin Moyu smiled. He has fallen in love with this feeling of being unrestrained and having unlimited power. Let's see if you die or I die this time. Lin Moyu's eyes condensed, and he punched Xiao Donging fiercely. The terrifying powers surged between heaven and earth, and countless huge fists evolved between heaven and earth, bombarding Xiao Donging. Countless cracks appeared between heaven and earth, and the space was broken layer by layer. The space of the origin continent could not withstand such a punch. Xiao Donging had been marked before through the skeleton hell, so Lin Moyu's attack was also locked. He used the fist of the great power Heavenly Venerable. At this moment, it was as if the great power Heavenly Venerable was reborn, and with the power of the Tao Venerable realm, he showed his invincible will in the origin continent. No matter how many magics you have, I will break them. The great power Heavenly Venerable died in the battle to protect the great world and did not enter the origin continent. But Lin Moyu brought his will and his inheritance to the origin continent. Xiao Donging finally reacted, and in an instant, he fully opened his power and used all his strength. He dared not hold back anymore, and all his strength burst out. He recovered to his former peak, and his vitality was rapidly lost, in exchange for huge power. The Wanling Avenue roared, and a terrifying giant python jumped out from the depths of the heavenly Tao. This giant python was more than 10,000 meters long, and it occupied the world the moment it came out. 0.0. This is Xiao Donging's strongest Tao true body. The giant python whipped its tail wildly, facing Lin Moyu's fist. The fist and tail intersected, and the world exploded. A large area of space collapsed, and the ground sank, as if the world was coming to an end. The aftermath of the battle spread out, and the Jade Sword City, thousands of miles away, also felt the impact of the aftermath. Dao Zuns rushed out of the Jade Sword City one by one, looking at the distance in confusion. There are high-level Dao Zuns fighting. At least Dao Zuns above the 5th realm. What happened? So strong, I feel that the aftermath alone can kill him. Dao Zun's ascent to heaven step by step, one realm away. The strength is a drastic change, especially after the third realm, it is even more so. For the sake of your life, it is better not to join in the fun. The Dao Zuns only felt it from a distance, but no one dared to go over. If you are not careful, one aftermath will kill you. The sky and earth collapsed, and Lin Moyu and Xiao Donging fought madly. Lin Moyu broke all methods with one punch. No matter what method Xiao Donging used, he would break it with one punch. Xiao Donging manipulated the Wanling Avenue in a strange and changeable way. In addition to transforming into a giant python to fight Lin Moyu to death, he would also use various magic to attack. However, any attack was broken by Lin Moyu. Punch after punch, every moment was thousands of punches. Lin Moyu didn't know how many punches he had thrown. Holes were smashed on the body of the giant python, and Lin Moyu became more and more courageous. But Xiao Donging became more and more anxious. He was trying his best to sublimate, and his vitality was rapidly lost, and it was difficult to last. Lin Moyu laughed out loud. You can't hold on for much longer. If you have any last words, tell them quickly. I won't leave you with a whole body. Xiao Donging shouted angrily, You kid, you are talking nonsense. You're the one who will die today. Lin Moyu sneered, If you have any tricks, use them. Otherwise, you won't have a chance. He could see that Xiao Donging couldn't hold on for much longer. In another 3 or 5 minutes, even if he didn't kill him, he would die of the end of his lifespan. The effect of the Dao Immortal Pill was just a little longer than Xiao Donging's lifespan. It consumed part of Xiao Donging's lifespan before, so it had some effect. Huangzhou and Pajun didn't die in vain. Xiao Donging roared, Then let me show you my tricks. A strange Dao pattern appeared on his forehead, and the Dao pattern flew out and exploded automatically, and the space was distorted. A man walked out of the distorted space. He was as old as Xiao Donging, and he obviously lived for countless years. He stepped forward step by step. His movements were a little stiff for the first 2 steps. Then his movements became smooth, just like a baby completely adapting to his body. Lin Moyu's eyes were fixed. He could tell that this was an ancient strong man who sealed himself like Xiao Donging. He had just broken the seal and returned to the world after countless years. Xiao Donging shouted, You come and hold on for a while. My vitality is too much and I can't hold on any longer. But this guy can't hold on for too long. If you hold on for a few minutes, he will die. He has 2 original magics and infinite Taiyin luck. We will share the lion's share. The new old man looked at Lin Moyu and knew that what Xiao Donging said was true. He said in a low voice, Okay. He took a step forward, sublimated to the extreme, and his strength instantly recovered to the peak, the 6th realm of Dao Zun. A huge sword fell on the avenue. The true form of the avenue is a huge sword. This former strong man practiced the avenue of sword. The old man and the giant sword merged into one. He is the sword and the sword is him. The eyes became extremely sharp, and the eyes alone were enough to kill some low-level Dao Zun. With a wave of his finger, the terrifying sword light swept the world and separated Xiao Donging and Lin Moyu. He shouted in a low voice, Boy, your opponent has changed to me. While Xiao Donging was speaking, he had already begun to retreat, and his breath dropped rapidly. In the state of sublimation with all his strength, his vitality was lost too quickly, and he really couldn't bear it. The purpose of his coming here was to live a few more years, not to die early. Lin Moyu said coldly, You said change? I didn't agree. Madam, I leave this guy to you. The rule world opened, and a terrifying cold air shot out. In the cold air, an exquisite white jade sword flew and stabbed the swordsman with competition skills. The old swordsman's face changed drastically, cold water jade sword. The cold water jade sword broke through the space restriction and appeared directly in front of him. His face changed drastically, and the sun finger pointed out. Bang! The old swordsman trembled all over as if he was electrocuted, and the whole person was shaken away, and a layer of ice appeared on his body. Guhan Yu, who had been preparing for a long time, stepped out of the world of rules with lotus steps. Leave the great sword Daozuan to me, you focus on dealing with Xiao Donging. Lin Moyu smiled, so his name is the great sword Daozuan, then I'll trouble you, madam, I'll deal with Xiao Donging and come to help you. Guhan Yu shook his head, no need, I can kill him alone. Lin Moyu smiled and Xiao Donging again. Xiao Donging's face changed drastically, and the breath that had just been restrained rose again, continuing to sublimate to the extreme. He gritted his teeth and shouted, I didn't expect that you are from the Hansui Holy Land. Lin Moyu punched out, you are wrong, I am not from the Hansui Holy Land. Xiao Donging fought with Lin Moyu again, gritting his teeth and roaring, you are talking nonsense, the Hansui Jade Sword is a secret item of the Hansui Holy Land, and only the Lord of the Holy Land can manipulate it. The Lord of the Holy Land cannot marry outside, but can only marry into the family. You are naturally from the Hansui Holy Land. Lin Moyu said, are you confused? But I won't tell you. Lin Moyu's fists became more and more fierce, and the sky and the earth were full of fist shadows, giving Xiao Donging no chance at all. On the other side, the giant sword Dao Zun was extremely embarrassed under the attack of the ancient cold Jade. The cold air filled the sky, and the giant sword Dao's actions were restricted everywhere. The giant sword Daoist master was suppressed by Guhan Yu. Stop, do you want to start a war between us? Guhan Yu said, if you say that the Dao sect wants to go to war with me, this Saint Master will accompany you. But before that, this Saint Master will cut you off first. Now is not the era when you are dominating the world. Since you are here, you should die completely. The giant sword Daoist master roared repeatedly, but it was useless. He couldn't do anything to Guhan Yu. Lin Moyu sighed. Xiao Donging was completely desperate. His vitality was fading faster and faster. His breath was already unstable, and he could no longer maintain the state of Daoist master. Feeling his vitality fading, Xiao Donging seemed to have seen death. No, I have to escape, I must escape. If I don't escape, I will definitely die here. Xiao Donging kept looking around, trying to escape. Suddenly, a pain came from his leg. Looking down, the three-colored phantom snake flashed in his eyes and disappeared again. 463. Three-colored phantom snake. Xiao Donging screamed. Even if he was bitten by the three-colored phantom snake in his former peak period, it would be very troublesome, let alone now. The three-colored phantom snake, a special spiritual beast, is what he wants most. He once tried to capture the three-colored phantom snake, but never succeeded. The three-colored phantom snake's venom quickly took effect, and Xiao Donging's breath fell faster and faster. Hearing the four words three-colored phantom snake, the giant sword Taoist cried out, a sword light burst out, and the ice between heaven and earth broke layer by layer. Guhan Yu snorted and quickly retreated. Lin Moyu saw the giant sword Taoist turned into a sword light and went away, but the giant sword Taoist who escaped was only at the 4th level of Taoist. He blasted the blockade set up by Gu Saiyu at the cost of a lot of vitality. Lin Moyu immediately asked, are you okay? Guhan Yu shook his head, I'm fine, it's a pity that he escaped. Lin Moyu snorted coldly, he can't escape, Xiao Donging is left to you, I'll deal with him. Guhan Yu nodded, okay. The two exchanged opponents. Lin Moyu withdrew the Immortal Avenue True Body and replaced it with the Space Avenue True Body. In an instant, his body became distorted and transparent. He seemed to have merged into the space, as if he didn't exist in this world, and as if he was everywhere. Lin Moyu pointed his finger, the space was distorted, and the giant sword Daozuan who had already flown far away suddenly flew back and quickly enlarged in the sight. It was impossible for the great sword Daoist master to come back by himself, but he had to come back. Lin Moyu twisted the space, twisting the space in front of the great sword Daoist master. Although he was fleeing forward, in fact, he was flying closer and closer. Guhan Yu saw it and murmured, it's actually the great Tao of space. At this moment, Lin Moyu became mysterious and complicated in her eyes. On the Origin continent, there are very few people who can comprehend the great Tao of space. And there are even fewer who can apply the great Tao of space to this extent. Although there are other thoughts in his mind, the Hansui Jade sword is not soft. Two cold lights flashed, and Xiao Donging screamed. His limbs have been cut off. The wound was frozen, and not a drop of blood flowed out. The space around him was also blocked by ice. There was no door in the world, and he couldn't jump at all. Xiao Donging's breath has recovered to the realm of Dao Zun, and the extreme sublimation has completely ended. There is little vitality left. Now he is full of despair and can only wait for death to come. The giant sword Dao Zun thought he had escaped at the cost of vitality. But a big fist came forward and completely shattered his beautiful dream. The giant sword Dao Zun was blasted to the ground, and his bones were broken all over his body, and he could not move. He saw Lin Moyu, and Guhan Yu also saw Xiao Dongwang, whose limbs were broken and turned into a melon. How could it be? I clearly escaped. His question was destined to remain unanswered. Lin Moyu put away his true body. Thank you, madam. If it weren't for madam's help, Bing Tian would be in danger. Guhan Yu rolled his eyes at him. Really? Lin Moyu laughed. Of course, one-on-one is okay, but one-on-two is not. After all, my husband is only a low-level Tianzuan, far from Daozuan. Guhan Yu snorted lightly, obviously not believing Lin Moyu's words. Based on her little understanding of Lin Moyu must have many backups. These backups, one after another, will definitely kill Xiao Donging and giant sword Daozuan. Guhan Yu asked, how are you going to deal with them? Lin Moyu said, of course I will kill them, but I want to keep some of their flesh and blood. I wonder if madam has any way. After the death of a Taoist master above the fourth realm, his flesh and blood soul will return to the great Tao, and normally nothing will be left. Lin Moyu didn't actually have too many expectations, just asking a few more questions. Guhan Yu said, if you want a complete body, then I can't do it. If it's just some flesh and blood, it can still be done. She pointed her finger, and the Hansui Jade sword flew out. With a few swishes, the limbs of the giant sword Taoist master were also cut off. Then she created suction in her palm, sucking in all the broken hands and feet of the two. A ball of ice blue flame rose, and the two limbs were quickly refined, and finally formed 2 drops of blood essence. 1 drop belongs to Xiao Donging, and 1 drop belongs to the giant sword Taoist master. Guhan Yu asked, is this okay? Lin Moyu nodded hurriedly, yes, thank you ma'am. He took the 2 drops of blood essence away and carefully treasured them. Guhan Yu frowned slightly, what do you want this thing for? Lin Moyu said, I have a magic that requires flesh and blood as a medium. The stronger the flesh and blood, the greater the power. Guhan Yu thought of his own experience, as if he had also been attacked by Lin Moyu with that inexplicable magic at that time, and he said no more. At this time, Lin Moyu's breath began to drop sharply, and the time for the Great Tao Immortal Pill was up. Once the power of the Great Tao Immortal Pill disappeared, the power beyond the limit caused Lin Moyu to collapse instantly. The soul and the body collapsed together, and turned to ashes on the spot. Watching Lin Moyu turn to ashes in front of him, Guhan Yu's eyes showed panic, and he was suddenly heartbroken. A sharp pain from the depths of the soul broke out, and the delicate body could not stop shaking. How could it be? How could it be dead? Guhan Yu had completely lost the sense of Lin Moyu. Only death would make it so. Xiao Donging and the great sword Daozuan on the ground were also stunned for a moment, and then Xiao Donging laughed wildly, so that's it, the price of this source of magic is death. The great sword Daozuan also laughed out loud, I didn't expect that the son of Taiying died like this, it's really ridiculous. Guhan Yu's face turned cold, what are you laughing at? She was full of murderous intent and was about to kill the 2 people immediately. Suddenly, a purple light flashed in her eyes, and a warm and familiar voice came out, what's so funny? Lin Moyu completed his rebirth and appeared in the same place intact. Guhan Yu's voice trembled, you're not dead? Lin Moyu said, how could you die for no reason? Guhan Yu snorted lightly. It's good that you're not dead. I'll leave this to you. She turned around and ignored it, giving Lin Moyu an infinitely beautiful back view. Her slightly trembling body seemed to be telling something. Lin Moyu, an old man, naturally understood, and would not expose it, but looked at Xiao Donging and Eugene Daozuan. You two seniors have lived for so many years, how can you still be so naive? I am such a person who cherishes my life, how could I joke about my own life? Is it because you sealed yourself up and damaged your brains? Facing Lin Moyu's ridicule, Xiao Donging and Eugene Daozuan were trembling with anger and had nothing to say. Now they are fish meat, and Moyu is the knife. Lin Moyu opens the world of rules. Xiao San, come out. Xiao San responded and landed on Lin Moyu's shoulder. Lin Moyu pointed at Dao Donging. He's in your hands. Xiao San screamed when she saw Xiao Donging, and her small body instantly grew larger, returning to the body of the sky-swallowing rat. Xiao Donging's body trembled violently, revealing a look of horror. Sky-swallowing rat. The scene of how he had treated the sky-swallowing rat flashed quickly, and he knew that he and the sky-swallowing rat were mortal enemies. Xiao San looked at his blood enemy, murderous aura boiling, and bit it down in one bite. Screaming, Xiao San bit off a piece of flesh and blood, chewing it in his mouth, making a sound of sour teeth. Xiao San will return the way Xiao Donging treated the sky-swallowing rat. It will bite Xiao Donging to death bit by bit, and eat all his flesh and blood. Lin Moyu let it go, this hatred from the blood, let it vent properly. As for the three-color phantom snake poison in Xiao Donging's body, it doesn't matter. Qian Diheo, anyway, there are spiritual flowers, even if Xiao San is poisoned, he can be cured. With a wave of his hand, a force blocked the movement, and the ears were clear. Lin Moyu looked at the giant sword Daozun. Senior, do you have any last words? The giant sword Daozun snorted. Kill if you want to kill. Lin Moyu nodded. Okay, then I'll send you off. Senior, please have a good trip. The shadow mantis appeared beside the giant sword Daozun, for cold lights flashed, and the giant sword Daozun died. Although his vitality fell, his blood and chi declined, and he looked only at the first level of Daozun. But his real strength was the 6th level of Daozun. After his death, his body and soul turned into countless smoke and disappeared, returning to the heavenly way. Guhan Yu turned to Lin Moyu. I didn't expect that you also got a swallowing rat. Lin Moyu smiled. Just good luck. Guhan Yu said, it seems that fate is also pushing you, but you got the sky-swallowing rat, so you have to be careful. Lin Moyu was stunned for a moment. Is there anything special? Guhan Yu looked at Lin Moyu with a smile. His eyes were gentle, but more of it was amusement. That look made Lin Moyu feel like a fool. He realized that this should be a common-sense question, but he didn't know it. Lin Moyu said, don't keep me in suspense, just tell me. Guhan Yu said, the Swallowing Sky Rat clan was cursed in ancient times. The luck of their clan is very low. Although they can grow up smoothly and become a spirit beast of the Daozuan realm, they will always be unlucky and die at some point. I don't know under what circumstances you got it. If I guessed correctly, Tian Yu Baju got it when it was very unlucky. Lin Moyu heard it and it seemed to be true. Being stuck in the balance gem for a full 100,000 years and unable to move, it was really unlucky. And the sky-swallowing rat caught by Xiao Donging was also tortured in various ways, which was also unlucky. Of course, it can also be regarded as an accident. But since Guhan Yu said so, it is definitely not as simple as an accident. Guhan Yu continued, not only is the sky-swallowing rat unlucky, but all their owners will also be unlucky. There are many people who have obtained the sky-swallowing rat in history, but few of them can have a good end. But your luck should be very strong, maybe you can suppress the curse. Guhan Yu's smile became more and more dangerous. Of course, she knew that Lin Moyu's luck was strong, not only the son of Taiyin, but also herself. So most of the words she said were just to scare Lin Moyu. After listening, Lin Moyu seemed to take it seriously. No wonder I met Xiao Donging. It seems that this little guy also has a share. I don't know why that senior cursed the sky-swallowing rat clan. Guhan Yu said, legend has it that the sky-swallowing rat stole his origin spiritual vein, and he happened to practice the cursed avenue, so the rat clan was unlucky. Is there any way to remove it? Lin Moyu asked. Guhan Yu said, it's difficult. Now the sky-swallowing rat has reproduced from generation to generation, and the curse has long been deeply rooted in the blood, turning from acquired to innate, so it is naturally impossible to remove it. Unless we can find the person who cursed that year, there may be some hope. Lin Moyu asked curiously, is that senior still alive? Guhan Yu said with a smile, maybe he is still alive. After all, that kind of realm is not something we can speculate. You can also ask it, maybe there will be an answer in its blood. Lin Moyu turned his head and took a look. Xiao San was torturing Xiao Donging. The picture was a little beautiful, but not very good-looking. Guhan Yu stood under the origin of the sun, looking in the direction of Eugene City, and stretched his waist. This sunshine is quite beautiful. Looking at Guhan Yu's infinitely beautiful back, Lin Moyu smiled and said, no matter how beautiful she is, she can't be more beautiful than you. Guhan Yu obviously chuckled, and when she turned around, her smile had already faded. What are you going to do next? Lin Moyu said, I plan to go to Dong Joo. You were right last time. There is no place in Nanzhou that can accommodate new forces. Dong Joo is the most suitable place for me. Guhan Yu said, Dong Joo is full of disputes and it is very dangerous there. Lin Moyu said, chaos is the soil in which I grow. Since I have lived in a dangerous world, danger is a habit for me. Guhan Yu knew that she could not stop Lin Moyu. After 2 brief contacts, she had roughly understood Lin Moyu's character. Basically, once she made a decision, she would not change it. Guhan Yu murmured Lin Moyu's words in a low voice, danger is a habit. Such words can show how bad the place where Lin Moyu used to live was. Guhan Yu did not ask about Lin Moyu's past. She did not like to look back, but preferred to look forward to the distant road ahead. If you can gain a foothold in Dong Joo, what are your plans? What's your plan? Lin Moyu chuckled, I don't have any specific plans. Let's take it one step at a time. If I have a goal, I do have one. Guhan Yu said, tell me about it. Lin Moyu smiled and said, practice to the limit and find my 6 wives. Guhan Yu's body trembled violently, and his face was full of disbelief. Are you married? Lin Moyu said, I didn't have the chance to tell you before. I am indeed married, and I have 6 wives. Guhan Yu's face was not good, and his eyes were full of anger. Lin Moyu seemed not to see her expression, and said to himself, 4 of them were married before I reached the transcended realm. The other 2 were married when I was in the supreme realm. I forgot to tell you that I came from the world of the Sea of Boundaries. Oh, by the way, I have a sister, a real sister, who came to the origin continent 1 step earlier than me, and I don't know where she went at the moment. Guhan Yu sneered, you are honest. Lin Moyu said, I will never hide anything from people I trust. We are husband and wife. Whether it is because of the intertwined branches or other reasons, I have already regarded you as my wife. When I am strong enough in the future, I will come to you. I know that the Holy Lord of your Hansui Holy Land cannot marry outside, but it doesn't matter. Everything on the origin continent is based on strength. As long as I am strong enough, the rules can be changed. Guhan Yu said, do you know how strong our Holy Land is? Lin Moyu said, it doesn't matter. The strong people I have seen are far beyond your imagination. Have you heard of an old man in a green robe riding a green cow? Guhan Yu shook his head, indicating that he had not heard of it. Lin Moyu took out the essence of Zushui. Can you talk about this? Guhan Yu looked at the essence of Zushui, and shook his head after a moment, indicating that he had never seen it. Lin Moyu said, although you don't know it, you should have heard of it. It's called the essence of ancestral water. Guhan Yu exclaimed, the essence of ancestral water used in legends. Of course, I have heard of the essence of ancestral water. The ancestor who created the Hansui Holy Land, Gu Tong Tian, once obtained a drop of the essence of ancestral water. But these younger generations have no idea what the essence of ancestral water looks like. Lin Moyu said, so, what I have seen is far beyond your imagination. You don't have to tell me how powerful the foundation of the Hansui Holy Land is. One day, I will come to marry you. No one can object, including yourself. These words are a bit overbearing, but Guhan Yu feels a little warm in her ears. She was indeed a little angry when she heard that Lin Moyu had 6 wives. But she is the master of the Hansui Holy Land. She has seen too many things and calmed down quickly. What has been done is done, and she can't reverse time. Strictly speaking, she is the latecomer, and it was she who used the Lianlizi that caused the current situation. Thinking this way, she didn't seem to have the right to be angry. She took a deep breath. Okay, I'll wait for you to marry me, so how long do you want me to wait? Is 100,000 years enough? Lin Moyu shook his head. I don't know exactly how long it will take, but 100,000 years shouldn't be necessary. It took more than 2,000 years to cultivate to the low-level Tianzhou, and Lin Moyu is confident in his cultivation speed. 100,000 years, it really doesn't take. Guhan Yu said, I hope you can do it. Jade Sword City still shone brightly, like a pearl on the earth, extremely dazzling. In this world controlled by the Hansui Holy Land, there are only a handful of places that can compare with Jade Sword City. Lin Moyu and Guhan Yu walk side by side, like a pair of golden boys and jade girls, heading towards Jade Sword City. Xiao Donging was tortured by Xiao San very badly, until his vitality was completely lost and he died. If not for this, Xiao San could have tortured him for a long time. Killing Xiao Donging, Xiao San avenged his blood feud, and it swore to be loyal to Lin Moyu forever. No matter what Lin Moyu asked it to do, it would do it. Lin Moyu just laughed it off. He threw Xiao San back to the world of rules and continued to play with Xiao Wu and Xiao Yu. On the way back, Lin Moyu told Guhan Yu some of his past. Let Guhan Yu know how his 6 wives were taken away. Guhan Yu whispered, so, the old man in green robe is easy to talk to, but his Taoist partner is a bit fierce. Lin Moyu smiled, indeed, but I can feel that the senior has no ill intentions. Guhan Yu nodded, I believe you can find them in the future. Lin Moyu smiled, I also believe I can, but by then, you will have 6 more sisters. Guhan Yu snorted coldly, that's my business, you don't need to care. As they spoke, the two walked into the gate of Eugene City. The two people, like a golden boy and a jade girl, attracted countless people's attention along the way. There are many beauties on the Origin continent, and female practitioners are basically very beautiful, but there are not many with the temperament like Guhan Yu. Before returning to the courtyard, Guhan Yu said, then I'll leave first. Lin Moyu suddenly reached out and hugged Guhan Yu, whispering in her ear, wait for me to marry you in the Holy Land. Guhan Yu's delicate body trembled slightly, got it. After hugging for a while, the two finally separated, and Han Yu turned and left. Until she disappeared, Lin Moyu's ears rang with her words. Be careful, come back if you can't, I'll support you. Lin Moyu chuckled. When would he fall to the point where he needed a woman to support him? No matter how bad he was, he wouldn't be like this. In the next few days, Lin Moyu's life became ordinary. He no longer went out and drank tea in the yard every day, often looking up at the sky, as if he was appreciating the origin of the sun. 3 days later, a deep voice resounded throughout the Jade Sword domain. Eugene City, Elder Mu Quan, colluded with the Dao Dao sect and has been killed. Wenling Daozuan of the Dao Dao sect and Jujian Daozuan sneaked into the Hansui Holy Land and wanted to harm the Hansui Holy Land. They have been killed. By the order of the Holy Lord of the Hansui Holy Land, I hereby announce to the world that if the Dao Dao sect wants to start a war, my Hansui Holy Land will fight to the end. After hearing this voice, Lin Moyu slowly stood up and walked towards the direction of the Jade Sword. Guhan Yu's methods are indeed fierce, and the rules of the Hansui Holy Land are indeed strict. An elder of the Daozuan realm said to kill and killed, leaving no room for mercy. Facing the Dao Dao sect, the attitude is even more aggressive. Tell the Dao Dao sect directly that the people who came over have been killed. If you want to fight, then fight. If you don't want to fight, shut up and get out. This news will spread throughout Nanzhou soon. If the Dao Dao sect wants to fight, the Hanshui Holy Land has already stood on the moral high ground. You were the first to come here, and you caused trouble first. You still want to start a war, which is weak. It seems to be just a moral issue, but in fact it is a matter of luck, and the relationship is very mysterious. If the Dao Dao sect does not start a war, it means that the Hanshui Holy Land has slapped the Dao Dao sect in the face. No matter what it does, the Hanshui Holy Land has the advantage. Especially since the Hanshui Holy Land set an example and killed all its elders, it depends on what you Dao Dao sect will do. When he came to the entrance of the formation again, Lin Moyu saw that the people guarding the formation had been replaced, not just one or two, but all of them. I think those subordinates who originally belonged to Mu Quan are not doing well. I don't know how much benefit Mu Quan received from Xiao Donging, but in the end he didn't get much benefit, he died, and implicated others. Lin Moyu was disdainful in his heart. He hated those who were traitors. Lin Moyu stood in line and handed over the origin crystal, and then followed the crowd into the formation. The formation is two worlds inside and outside. The moment he entered the formation, a series of strong winds came towards him. The earth showed a jade quality, which looked crystal clear. Lin Moyu knew that it was the result of the sword energy rubbing against the ground for countless years. There was a tiny sword energy in the strong wind, although it was not overwhelming for Tianzuan. But if a cultivator below the other shore realm came in, he would be torn to pieces on the spot. Looking at the jade sword in the distance, Lin Moyu walked forward step by step, towards the jade sword. The crowd that was originally lined up was divided at this moment. Some walked fast, some walked slowly. The strong wind blinded them, and some lost their direction while walking. 0. The closer they got to the jade sword, the fewer people there were. Lin Moyu walked 20 kilometers in a blink of an eye, completing 1/5 of the journey. The strong wind became more and more violent, and the sword energy in the wind also increased, making it more and more difficult to move forward. The sword energy and the strong wind mixed together, and it was impossible to tell who was who, and there was no way to dodge. There was an invisible force in the jade sword, and everyone who entered the range of 100 kilometers would be attacked. Lin Moyu felt the sword energy in the strong wind, and seemed to understand something. In fact, the sword energy is not strong, the real trouble is the impact on the heart of Tao. There is an invisible force in the sword energy, which constantly wears away the heart of Tao. This power is very magical. Lin Moyu has never seen it and can't understand it. It's like there is a voice that keeps persuading himself in the depths of his soul, go back, don't get closer, it will be dangerous if you get closer. 0. Go back, there is no benefit in getting closer. Go back, turn back, and you will be in the abyss if you go on. Various voices echoed in the depths of the soul, some persuading, some warning, and some threatening. The most troublesome thing is that even if you don't think about it, you can't do it. This kind of voice will penetrate the soul, enter the subconscious, and eventually affect the instinct. No matter how firm the heart of Tao is, it will be gradually eroded and eventually retreat. For so many years, no one has been able to really touch the jade sword. The higher the realm of the people who come here, the greater the impact they will receive. On the contrary, the impact on those with a lower realm will be smaller accordingly. 0121072004 Feilu 140240550. What is tested here is the heart of Tao, not the realm of cultivation. Of course, the higher the realm, the firmer the heart of Tao. If the heart of Tao is truly firm enough and reaches an indestructible level, the other shore realm can also go to the end. Strange, why do I feel like I've seen it before? Lin Moyu's thoughts flew, and he suddenly realized why it seemed familiar. That feeling is the feeling of the intertwined branches. The difference is that the intertwined branches affect oneself imperceptibly, and the influence of the intertwined branches is long-lasting and will eventually become a real instinct. The influence brought by the jade sword is only temporary. As long as you leave the range of the Jade Sword, you can recover after a certain period of time, and there will be no permanent impact. Moreover, the influence brought by the Jade Sword is more obvious, unlike the intertwined branches that are imperceptible. In terms of means, the intertwined branches are more terrifying. Knowing is knowing, but how to resist is the real problem. Lin Moyu, while moving forward, he was thinking about how to resist the influence of the Jade Sword. This influence, although not as silent as the intertwined branches, is equally unbearable. Fortunately, Lin Moyu's Dao heart is very firm and is not affected for the time being. The wind failed to confuse him, and he approached the Jade Sword unwaveringly. The sword energy became more and more dense, and the voice that was bewitching and enough to wipe out the Dao heart became stronger and stronger. Gradually, Lin Moyu saw many practitioners. They sat on the ground and endured the sword energy. These people's realms were strong and weak. There were heavenly venerables and supreme venerables. However, most of the people sitting here were practitioners below the supreme venerables and above the other shore. There were very few heavenly venerables, and there were no Dao venerables. They sat here to hone their Dao hearts. If they could withstand the bewitching power brought by the sword energy, they could make their Dao hearts more firm. The area around the Jade Sword is not only a place to verify one's Dao heart, but also a good place to hone one's heart. Not only the Jade Sword, but also the 72 origin swords have similar effects. Lin Moyu also had decided that the senior who refined the 72 origin swords was really a god. Dao heart is so important to a cultivator. If one can make the Dao heart firm and not be invaded by any external objects, the future of this person will be limitless. Lin Moyu determined his Dao heart and continued to move forward. He had confidence in his Dao heart, and even if he did not find a way to resist, he had the confidence to go to the end. Getting closer and closer to the Jade Sword. 50 kilometers. 45 kilometers. 40 kilometers. He saw more cultivators, all of whom were honing their Dao hearts. The closer to the Jade Sword, the higher the realm of the cultivator. The number of supremes is decreasing, the number of heavenly venerables is increasing, and occasionally Dao venerables will appear. What is being competed here is not cultivation, but Dao heart. The firmer the Dao heart, the farther you can go. Lin Moyu saw someone stand up and walk forward like him, then after walking a few hundred meters, he sat down again and kept his mind focused. Some people suddenly stood up and left without looking back. His Dao heart had been affected, so he chose to turn back. Dao heart is not easy to hone. It is much more difficult to improve Dao heart than to improve the realm of cultivation. Dao heart is invisible and intangible, just a thought, which may be very firm or very weak. Some people seem weak, but their Dao heart is very firm. Some people seem strong, but their Dao heart is very fragile. There are too many things that can affect Dao heart, and many people have weaknesses and will always be affected. When there were still 30 kilometers left to the Jade Sword, Lin Moyu suddenly heard a familiar voice in his ears. "Husband, come back. Husband, we are waiting for you at home. Husband, look back quickly, we are behind you." His wife's voice was so familiar and so touching. Lin Moyu instinctively wanted to turn back, his neck moved slightly, and then stopped abruptly. He couldn't look back. If he did, he would fail. Lin Moyu was somewhat shocked. He was actually affected by an illusion. What he just heard was an illusion. The power of the Jade Sword caught the most vulnerable part of his heart, causing an illusion and then affecting himself. At 30 kilometers away, the power that eroded the heart of Tao was already very strong. The people who came here were very strange. There were only a few Dao Zun around, still sitting here, using the power of the Jade Sword to hone their hearts of Tao. To obtain the origin sword energy, you need to continue to move forward until you are within 20 kilometers. If Xiao Donging had not been killed before, Lin Moyu would need to walk within 1,000 kilometers to obtain a strong enough origin sword energy. Everything is not as easy as imagined. Purification. Lin Moyu shouted in his soul, and the 10-color dragon soul crystal moved in response, spewing dragon breath to purify the soul. The soul was shrouded and protected by the dragon breath, becoming difficult to invade by external evil. The world tree also dropped countless branches to wrap the soul and protect it. Lin Moyu didn't know if it was useful to do this. It was probably not very useful, but it was better than doing nothing, and it was better to comfort himself. Keep going, it's far from time to give up. Lin Moyu's eyes became firm, staring at the jade sword, and moved forward again. No matter how wild the sword energy was, Lin Moyu took every step firmly, carrying his own goal and moving forward. He caught up with one Dao master after another. Some Dao masters looked surprised and watched Lin Moyu surpass him and disappear in the wind. Husband, don't you want us anymore? Husband, why don't you turn around and look at us? Moyu, come back, your master is here. Brother, go back quickly, don't go any further, there is danger ahead. Voices rang out one after another, including his wife, Ming Anwen, Bai Yuan, and Lin Mohan. But no matter who it was, Lin Moyu ignored them. The voices became more and more numerous and more complicated, and the power of the jade sword kept stirring the softest part of his heart, bringing one irresistible voice after another. Lin Moyu did not look back, he just kept moving forward, and the initial illusion was like nothing. Finally, he walked another 10 kilometers, and at this time there were only 20 kilometers left to the jade sword. An invisible force fell, and Lin Moyu sensed this change with his extremely keen spiritual perception. This power came from the jade sword, and he seemed to have been recognized by the jade sword. This power gathered in the body, gradually took shape, and turned into the shape of a sword. This sword seemed to be there and not there, as if it had substance and seemed invisible, between illusion and reality. The sword is not a real sword, but actually a sword energy. Original sword energy. Lin Moyu seemed to have some realization in his heart. This is the reward given by the jade sword. Anyone who enters the 20-kilometer area will get the origin sword chi. As the distance gets closer, the origin sword chi will become stronger and stronger. The current origin sword chi is still very weak, even if it is used to break through the realm. If you can walk to 10 kilometers, the origin sword chi you get is enough to kill ordinary Dao Zun. However, generally no one uses the origin sword chi to kill the enemy, it is better to use it for cultivation. Lin Moyu continued to move forward, and the pressure on his Dao heart became greater and greater. There seemed to be a voice in his subconscious mind, constantly telling him to go back. His mind was in a mess, and there were constant thoughts of giving up. The hallucinations in his ears continued as well, and became more and more intense. In the hallucination, his wife had already cried, sobbing one by one. 0.8 It was as if he had become a sinner, a scumbag. Lin Moyu suddenly looked up, looked at the jade sword, and said loudly, "The old man in the green robe in my memory, the predecessor who gave me Zushui, you have the ability to conjure them all. If you can do it, I will turn back immediately." Lin Moyu's voice resounded through the world, and several Taoist masters nearby looked at him in surprise. There was a trace of pity in their eyes. In their minds, Lin Moyu seemed to have gone crazy. He actually spoke to the jade sword. If he was not crazy, what else could he be? As Lin Moyu's voice fell, the voices of his relatives and friends disappeared at the same time. Then Lin Moyu heard another voice. "My friend, give up." The voice was exactly the same as the voice of the old man in green robe in his memory. Lin Moyu knew without looking that the jade sword really transformed into an old man in green robe. He couldn't help but smile. Interesting. The existence of the old man in green robe is extremely mysterious, unspeakable, unthinkable, and unthinkable. An existence of that level seems to know everything, and can sense everything in the world with just one thought. If someone thinks of him or mentions his name, it will be sensed. Lin Moyu discovered that the jade sword has some instinctive consciousness, and guessed that the sword should have given birth to a weapon spirit. Such a powerful jade sword has been towering between heaven and earth for countless years, and it is normal for the birth of a weapon spirit. but it has to act according to the rules. Perhaps there are some restrictions, and the wisdom of the body spirit is not very good. So Lin Moyu used the rules to deceive it. He knew that the Jade Sword could spy on some of his scattered memories. While speaking, Lin Moyu also deliberately thought about the memory of the old man in green robe, making the memory more vivid and specific. The Jade Sword was fooled, and the phantom of the old man in green robe appeared between heaven and earth and simulated the voice and tone of the old man in green robe, talking to himself. This unthinkable and unspeakable existence, being imitated by someone, will inevitably be sensed. Lin Moyu really wanted to know how the green-robed old man would react, whether he was really that powerful, as others said, unimaginable and unknowable. Lin Moyu ignored it and continued to walk forward, but his pace slowed down, as if he was slightly affected. The Jade Sword seemed to find it useful, so it simulated the image of the green-robed old man 04 more concretely. It obtained more information about the green-robed old man from Lin Moyu's memory, and Lin Moyu was not polite and controlled his own memory. If you want, I will give it to you, but you will never get the most important thing. The illusion of the green-robed old man became more and more concrete, and the power of the Jade Sword was constantly increasing. The mysterious and powerful power of the avenue was constantly eroding Lin Moyu's Dao heart. Lin Moyu's determination in his heart was getting weaker and weaker, and the idea of wanting to retreat was getting stronger and stronger. But he still insisted. He believed that his judgment would not be wrong. "Old man, if you don't come again, I will scold you." Lin Moyu was angry in his heart. If the old man in green robe didn't have such a great ability, then his challenge this time would end in failure. It would be more difficult next time, and it would be almost impossible to succeed. Lin Moyu tried to strengthen his will and continued to move closer to the Jade Sword. 15 kilometers. 13 kilometers. The speed gradually decreased and became slower and slower. He knew that he was constantly approaching the limit, getting closer and closer to the limit. Maybe, when I become a Taoist master, I can succeed in the challenge. Now I am still a Tianzuan, and I am still a little short. Inexplicably, Lin Moyu had some thoughts that he shouldn't have in his heart. This thought kept growing and turned into a force that made him want to give up. He knew that he shouldn't have such thoughts, but he couldn't stop it. That feeling of powerlessness made Lin Moyu helpless. There were no Taoist masters around him. At this moment, he had surpassed all Taoist masters and walked to the front. The hallucinations in his ears became clearer and clearer. Lin Moyu could feel without looking back that the mysterious old man in green robe was right behind him, pulling him with his voice. Finally, he was only 10 kilometers away from the Jade Sword, a mere 10,000 meters. His Dao heart finally reached its limit. Just when he was about to give up, a terrifying force fell from the sky. The Jade Sword roared and vibrated continuously, and countless cracks appeared on the ground, spreading over thousands of miles in an instant. The entire Jade Sword city was trembling, and countless buildings collapsed. With the Jade Sword as the center, within a radius of thousands of miles, except for Lin Moyu, no matter who it was, no matter how skilled they were, they lost all senses at this moment. Everyone could not hear, see, touch, or stand, and they lay on the ground in an extremely embarrassed manner, unable to move. This force overturned the world, and all the avenues were in complete chaos at this moment. The Jade Sword was buzzing, and large cracks appeared on the sword body, as if it would collapse at any time. Lin Moyu looked at the crumbling Jade Sword and smiled bitterly. Is it necessary to make such a big fuss? This Jade Sword has stood for countless years. It's not good to be destroyed like this. The old man in green robe snorted with disdain. Just as you wish. As he spoke, the figure of the old man in green robe disappeared, and the world returned to normal. The whole process lasted only more than 10 seconds, but it felt like several years. No one knew what happened or why it happened, except Lin Moyu. The power that wiped out the heart of Tao retreated like a tide after the arrival of the old man in green robe. The Jade Sword was trembling constantly at this moment, as if it was afraid and trembling. The cracks on the sword were recovering, and when Lin Moyu looked at it, it trembled even more. It seemed to be very afraid of Lin Moyu, and never dared to release a force to test Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu smiled, "Don't mind, he won't really destroy you." As he spoke, he continued to walk towards the Jade Sword. The last 10 kilometers where Lin Moyu walked the smoothest kilometer. No trace of sword energy fell on his body, and there was no power to wipe out his heart. As he approached, the original sword energy in his body became stronger and stronger, and the small sword condensed by the original sword energy was already substantial. This small sword is very magical. It can break through the bottleneck of cultivation and can also be released to kill enemies. However, Lin Moyu knew at this moment that the most important thing was not the original sword energy, but to get the recognition of the Jade Sword. No one has ever really owned the 72 original swords. No one knows whether the legend is true. Lin Moyu wants to try to be the first person to eat crabs. What if the legend is true? There is no smoke without fire, right? Lin Moyu walked the last 10 kilometers smoothly and came to the side of the Jade Sword. Standing under the Jade Sword, looking up at the top of the Jade Sword, reaching out and gently pressing on the Jade Sword, there should be only a handful of people who can look up at the Jade Sword from this angle. Then he patted the Jade Sword lightly, "Am I right?" Lin Moyu knew that the Jade Sword would not dare to do anything to him, thanks to the remaining power of the old man in green robe. The Jade Sword was scared to death just now. The Jade Sword trembled, and an illusory sword appeared in front of Lin Moyu. The sword was as beautiful as jade. Lin Moyu knew that this was the spirit of the Jade Sword. The Jade Sword spirit appeared in front of Lin Moyu and responded cautiously, "Since ancient times, there have been 3, and you are the 4th. It seems that people in the world cannot be underestimated. I didn't expect that 3 people have come here." Lin Moyu has deeply experienced the horror of the Jade Sword. It is not easy to come here. Although his current Tao heart is firm, it is still a little short. The Tao heart will become stronger with the realm. Maybe in the future, when he becomes a Taoist master, he can come here with his own ability. Lin Moyu asked, "What realm are those 3 people?" The Jade Sword said, 2 Taoist masters are in the 8th realm, and 1 Taoist master is in the 9th realm. Such a strong man. Compared with this, Lin Moyu felt that he was not bad. Lin Moyu said, "So they didn't get the 72 swords of origin?" The Jade Sword spirit said, "No, I want to get the 72 swords." Lin Moyu continued to ask, "How can I get you?" The Jade Sword spirit said, "Each sword is different. The Dao heart that I tested with Dao sword, and I recognized it, which is equivalent to waiting for Dao sword's recognition. As for the other swords, you need to test them yourself. It turns out that there is this requirement. The requirements for each sword are different, which is really difficult. The 72 swords of origin are distributed in 4 continents. If you want to get their recognition, you must first travel to the 4 continents." Lin Moyu used a cheating method to gain the approval of the Jade Sword. In the dantian of the body, the original sword energy formed a small emerald green sword. On both sides of the hilt, 2 words were engraved, one for Jade and one for Tao. This sword means the dual approval of the Jade Sword and the Dao Sword, and is called the Jade Dao Sword. However, after the approval, Lin Moyu realized that there are both advantages and disadvantages. The advantage is that the Jade Dao Sword can constantly temper the Dao heart, subtly make the Dao heart stronger, the will more determined, and the external evil is not invaded. The disadvantage is that the Jade Dao Sword has lost the 2 functions of breaking through the cultivation and killing the enemy. Tempering the Dao heart is the real function of the Jade Dao Sword. Breaking through the bottleneck and killing the enemy are not its main abilities. The Jade Sword spirit seemed to sense Lin Moyu's mood. "You don't have to feel sorry. Using the origin sword chi to break through the bottleneck is not a good thing. Real cultivation requires down-to-earth and relying on one's own strength to move forward. Any behavior that relies on external forces will eventually become a hindrance and hinder your progress." Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Who told you this truth?" The Jade Sword spirit said, "It was the person who refined us." Lin Moyu heard something unusual from its words. Isn't the person who refined you your master? The Jade Sword Spirit said, no, it just refined us and put us here to suppress the world. Lin Moyu was slightly stunned. Suppress the world? The Jade Sword Spirit said, it seems that the origin continent lost something, and we are a substitute for that thing. Something was lost, and the origin 72 swords were just a substitute for that thing. Lin Moyu felt as if he knew an incredible secret. Then he asked the most important question, if someone gets all of you, can he become the master of the origin continent? The Jade Sword Spirit said, I don't know, that person didn't tell us. Even the Jade Sword Spirit didn't know. It seems that the legend can't be taken seriously. However, over the years, no one has ever been recognized by all the 72 swords, and it is still hard to say whether the legend is true or not. Lin Moyu said, there are still a few questions. Please tell me. The Jade Sword Spirit was very polite to Lin Moyu. It seemed that the appearance of the old man in green robe just now really scared it. Until now, the cracks on the sword have not completely disappeared. Lin Moyu asked, what is the power of the avenue you use? The Jade Sword Spirit said, I don't know either. Our power comes from the person who refined us, but we only know how to use it and don't know the source. After chatting for a while, Lin Moyu found that the Jade Sword Spirit didn't know much. It has been here for countless years and cannot communicate with too many people due to regulations. All the information it knows comes partly from the person who refined it. Then do you know who the person who refined you is? What realm is he in? The Jade Sword Spirit gently vibrated the sword body. It calls itself the Supreme Tao Lord, but it is not clear what realm it is in. But a strong man in the 9th realm of Dao Zun is like an ant in front of him. As he spoke, the Jade Sword Spirit projected a picture, which was extremely ancient. A person appeared in the picture, and Lin Moyu felt his greatness at a glance. He stood there like a road, lingering in time and space, spanning ancient and modern times. In front of him was the Jade Sword that stood tall and upright. The Jade Sword in the picture was obviously just formed, and it was far from having the kind of vast aura. At this time, someone rushed over, and it was a Dao Zun. The Dao Zun carried the great Dao, and the Dao pattern was revealed in the sky and earth, and he was extremely powerful. The Dao Zun rushed straight to the Jade Sword, as if he wanted to seize the Jade Sword. As a result, the powerful Dao Zun was wiped out and turned into nothingness with a casual finger from that person. Eugene explained, this is the picture I recorded when I was just born. That Dao Zun is Dao Zun Jiujing. Dao Zun Jiu realm was destroyed by the opponent's finger. This shows how powerful this Supreme Dao Master is. Lin Moyu thought of those beings that he had seen before, standing on the avenue outside the stars. But he couldn't compare who was more powerful between those people and the Supreme Dao Master. Lin Moyu asked, who do you think is more powerful, the old man in green robe before or the Supreme Dao Master who refined you? The Jade Sword Spirit trembled obviously, and then vibrated, I don't know, anyway, it's easy for both of them to destroy me. The level difference is too big, and the Jade Sword Spirit can't be compared. However, Lin Moyu is very clear that the Jade Sword is stronger than the first Zun Geo consciousness. But it has not reached the realm above Dao Zun. For this question, Lin Moyu can only explore it himself in the future. The origin continent is not as simple as he thought. The real strong ones are actually gone. In the origin continent, the strongest person known at present is Dao Zun Geo realm. It is hard to say whether there are Dao Zun 9 realms in the 9 7-star forces. At least not on the surface. Whether there are Dao Zun 9 realms in secret, only they themselves know. Lin Moyu thinks there should be, otherwise a Dao Zun 9 realm strongman outside can easily destroy them. It is not as easy as you think to become the top force in the origin continent. Lin Moyu bid farewell to the Jade Sword Spirit and left the village with the Sword of Pressure. This time he gained a lot. The Jade Sword of Pressure continued to emit magical power, tempering the Dao heart in a way that Lin Moyu could not understand. The body, soul, luck, and Dao heart, none of them can be missing. Any one of them will become a shackle. If you want to become a real top power, every one of them must be strong. This is the foundation. Only when the foundation is solid can you move forward step by step. On the way back, Lin Moyu once again saw those practitioners who were struggling to move forward and temper their Dao hearts. Dao Zun, Tian Zun, Ji Zun. Lin Moyu found that each of them had flaws in their foundation. Either they lacked luck, or they lacked Dao heart, or their physical bodies were not strong enough. In short, none of them could be perfect, and it would be difficult for them to reach a higher level when the time came. The 10-colored dragon soul crystal tempers the soul, the sun of the moon strengthens luck, and the jade Dao sword tempers the Dao heart. Now all that's missing is the physical body. How to temper the physical body? It seems that we need to find a corresponding method. Lin Moyu saw his future path clearly and knew how to go on. After returning to Eugene City, Lin Moyu suddenly frowned. What happened? One Dao sect is here? At this moment, Eugene City was in chaos. 7 of the 10 ice towers collapsed. The highest 10,000-meter ice tower in the center has also collapsed at this moment. In Eugene City, a large number of houses collapsed, and 1/3 of the city wall collapsed. One formation after another collapsed, and a large number of people and horses from the Hanshui Holy Land were maintaining order. Lin Moyu's heart tightened, and he immediately rushed to his yard. Xiaoye and Xiaowu are still in the yard, so don't let anything happen. But with Xiaosan here, there shouldn't be any trouble. He was relieved when he returned to the yard. His yard was not affected at all, and Xiaoye and Xiaowu were safe and sound. The 2 heartless people were still playing at this time. When Moyu came back, Xiaolu just called out and then continued playing. Xiaowu played her heartless role to the fullest. The Jade Sword City was in chaos. After some inquiries, Lin Moyu finally knew what had happened. Just now, a terrible force suddenly descended, and the entire Jade Sword City collapsed. At that time, countless people lay on the ground, unable to move, and all 5 senses disappeared. Lin Moyu already knew what had happened, but he could never have imagined that that person would make such a big fuss. This kind of existence is really powerful and terrifying. Just a breath of energy descended, and it has turned the world upside down. If the real body descended, should the origin continent collapse? As strong as the Jade Sword, it can only tremble there, scared to death. Lin Moyu thought of his origin shuttle again. Rushed to the Refining Master Association, found that the Refining Master Association also collapsed a small part, but the main body was still intact. Entering it, I saw that the door of Lin Huiguan's refining room was closed, and there were fluctuations from time to time. Obviously, he was refining with all his strength and was not affected. Lin Moyu then left with peace of mind. When passing by Lufeng Chamber of Commerce, he found that Lufeng Chamber of Commerce was in a much worse state than the Grand Master of Weapon Refining, and almost half of it had collapsed. The people in Lufeng Chamber of Commerce were busy repairing it. The cultivators were very fast, and it would be completely restored in a few days. The busiest one among them was Lu Fengqing, who needed him to rearrange the formation. In the crowd, Lin Moyu saw Lu Shui. Lu Shui also saw Lin Moyu, and walked over quickly with a smile on her face. "Hello, Mr. Lin 597. Lin Moyu said, "We suffered some losses this time." Lu Shui was a little helpless. Fortunately, most of the property is still there, so the loss is not too big. Faced with this natural disaster, Lu Shui said she had no solution and could only consider herself unlucky. With her realm, she could not understand what happened at all and could only regard it as a natural disaster. Even the Heavenly Venerable probably did not know what happened. Perhaps only some powerful Dao Venerables could understand a little. Lin Moyu asked, "Has anything new happened between Hanshui Holy Land and Wen Dao Sect?" Half a day had passed since Hanshui Holy Land announced the matter to the world. If Wen Dao Sect had any reaction, it would have happened soon. Lufeng Chamber of Commerce was very well informed, and the speed of transmission was far beyond imagination. Lin Moyu thought that he might be able to get some information from Lu Shui. Lu Shui smiled and said, "Mr. Lin, are you going to buy news?" Lin Moyu nodded. If there is news, it doesn't hurt to buy some. Lu Shui smiled even more brightly. It's a pity that there is no special news. Wen Dao sect did not react, as if it had suffered a loss. Lin Moyu was a little surprised. When did the Dao sect become so easy to talk to? Lu Shui said, in fact, I also feel strange. The Dao sect has always been domineering and vindictive. When would they be willing to suffer such a big loss? Lin Moyu said, if you have any news, tell me as soon as possible. I am very interested in this. As for how to find me, I believe you will have a way. Lu Shui smiled and said, okay, I will register this matter. No matter where you are, as long as there is relevant news, we will contact you as soon as possible. But we take the initiative to sell the news, the price. Lin Moyu said, don't worry about the price, as long as the news is useful, I can afford it. Lu Shui smiled brightly, Mr. Lin's financial resources, I naturally don't doubt it, just tell you in advance to avoid any misunderstanding. Lin Moyu nodded, give my regards to Senior Feng Qing for me, I'm leaving first. Sir, take care. After saying goodbye to Lu Shui, Lin Moyu bought some snacks and pastries on the way back. The chaos in Eugene City had little impact on ordinary people. They still had to live their lives. The practitioners with lower realms were recruited to repair Eugene City. Of course, they would not work in vain and would be rewarded accordingly. The fact that the Dao sect did not respond at all made Lin Moyu a little surprised. It felt like something was unusual. In the Daoist sect, Wang Xinzong had received the announcement from the Hansui Holy Land. Once such an announcement is issued, it will spread quickly throughout the world. In less than half a day, the entire Nanzhou land will know about it. Wang Xinzong stood on the top of the main peak. The top of the main peak of the Daoist sect is a forbidden area. Except for the sect master, ordinary elders are not allowed to enter. Wang Xinzong's face was gloomy, and 3 elderly men were sitting in front of him. He told the whole story, and then waited quietly for the answer. Time was distorted in the 3 elders, and the time belonging to them was different from the time outside. Wang Xinzong knew that it would take some time for his words to reach their ears, so he was not in a hurry and waited quietly. After a while, the old man sitting on the right spoke. His mouth moved, but no sound came out. The sound was also affected by time, and it took a long time to come out. It's not the right time yet. The ancestor is about to break through. After the ancestor breaks through, we will settle accounts with the Hansui Holy Land. Be patient. As the leader of the sect, you must learn to be patient. Our goal is not the Hansui Holy Land. It is just our stepping stone. The voice was few, but it gave Wang Xinzong clear instructions. Wang Xinzong bowed slightly and then left. Wen Dao sect did not make any movement, as if it had suffered this loss. But those who know Wen Dao sect know that this matter will not end so easily. In the next few days, Lin Moyu did not go out in his yard. He waited for the repair of the Origin shuttle and the arrival of the large ship of Lufeng Chamber of Commerce. At that time, he would leave Nanzhou and go to Dong Joo, where disputes continued. In Lin and Moyu's eyes, Dong Joo is more suitable for him than Nanzhou. He did not do nothing in the past 2 days. When the Sun Origin was in power, he took the initiative to activate the Jade Dao sword to temper his Dao heart. When the Taiyin Origin rose, he felt the Dao and cultivated with the help of the Taiyin Origin. Because of the Son of Taiyin, Lin Moyu cultivated very quickly under the illumination of the Taiyin Origin, just like cultivating in the Origin spiritual vein. Various perceptions came one after another, and his understanding of the Dao became deeper and deeper. The Taiyin Origin is his Origin spiritual vein, and it is the largest Origin spiritual vein. Lin Moyu felt that if he continued like this, he would be able to break through to the middle-level Tianzuan in less than 3 to 5 years. This speed is already quite fast for Tianzuan. Other Tianzuan have to cultivate for tens of thousands or even tens of thousands of years to break through a realm. How long has it been since he became Tianzuan? Lin Moyu was already quite satisfied. For days passed peacefully, and when the moon was in the sky, a fragrance drifted from outside the courtyard. Guhan Yu's graceful figure appeared outside the courtyard, pushed open the door, and walked in with lotus steps. Lin Moyu stopped practicing, looked at the Jade girl with a smile. "Why are you here?" Guhan Yu walked to the table and sat down. "Are you not welcome?" Lin Moyu smiled. "How could it be? I'm just a little surprised, and there are some unexpected things." Xiao Wu called to Guhan Yu obediently. "Hello, mistress. I haven't seen you for a few days. My biological mother seems to be beautiful again." Flattery is free. Xiao Wu has a sweet mouth. Xiaoye was much more honest. Xiaoye greets the master's wife. The master's wife is well. Guhan Yu waved lightly, and a large number of snacks and toys suddenly appeared in the yard, forming a small mountain, all of which are for you. The two of them wowed, their eyes glowed, and they kept saying thank you. Lin Moyu smiled. "If you come a few more times, these two girls will be bought by you." Guhan Yu said, "It depends on your performance." Lin Moyu said, "Tell me what you are here for." Guhan Yu said, "I'm here to give you something and ask you something." Hearing Guhan Yu's words, Lin Moyu immediately became interested. "What good stuff is there?" Guhan Yu looked at Lin Moyu with a smile. "Why don't you ask first? I want to ask you something." Lin Moyu was very thick-skinned. "People, interests come first. Naturally, I have to ask what good stuff there is. This is instinct, and it is also my heart. I can't go against my heart." Guhan Yu was slightly startled by what Lin Moyu said. "I didn't expect that you are so thick-skinned." Lin Moyu didn't care at all, and continued while drinking tea. "Of course, you can also ask first. I don't care." Guhan Yu took out a bright red silk scarf. The scarf exuded a strong origin breath, hiding a fiery heat. Lin Moyu was shocked. "Is it just a magic weapon refined by the sun?" Guhan Yu shook his head. "You think too much. It just contains some sun origin. It can't be regarded as a magic weapon refined by the sun origin." Lin Moyu sighed. "Even if it only contains some of the sun's origin, it is extraordinary enough." "What's the use of it?" Guhan Yu said, "When the Taiying is in the sky, it can temporarily cover your Taiying talisman." Lin Moyu immediately took the red silk scarf in his hand. The silk scarf was warm to the touch, and he could clearly feel the sun's origin contained inside. Lin Moyu exclaimed, "This is a good thing. With it, it will be much more convenient to move in the future." Lin Moyu didn't want others to know that he was the son of Taiying. When Taiying was in power, his actions would be restricted. Unless he killed everyone who saw him, there would always be a time when everything would be exposed. At that time, so many Taoist masters from various forces came to find him. Once his identity was exposed, he would inevitably become the target of all doctors. Now with this silk scarf, it would be much more convenient. However, this red silk scarf is not suitable for his image. Guhan Yu said, "Don't be happy too soon. The solar essence in it is limited. Once the solar essence is used up, it will be just an ordinary silk coin." Lin Moyu asked, "Is there no way to replenish it?" Guhan Yu shook his head. "Anyway, I don't know how to replenish it. You have to figure it out yourself. As for its appearance, I think it will be fun for you to wear it. Or, wear it and show it to me." She smiled, wanting to see what Lin Moyu looked like wearing a red scarf. Lin Moyu put the red scarf away without saying a word. "I'll wear it for you to see when I have a chance." Guhan Yu sighed. "You seem to be getting thinner." Lin Moyu didn't respond. "Go ahead. What do you want to ask?" Guhan Yu said, "What exactly happened to the natural disaster in Eugene City a few days ago? Don't say it has nothing to do with you. I have a feeling that it must be related to you." Lin Moyu smiled. "Although I believe in my feelings, I know that since you said so, you must have your own reasons." Guhan Yu said, "I know you were near the Jade Sword when the natural disaster occurred. And the natural disaster broke out with the Jade Sword as the center, so it must be related to you." Lin Moyu said, "The reason is very sufficient. You are right. The natural disaster was indeed caused by me, but I was not the one who did it." Guhan Yu snorted lightly. "Of course I know it was not you. You can't do it with your ability. After saying this, she suddenly corrected it. At least you can't do it now. But I can be sure that this natural disaster must be related to you. A pair of bright and beautiful eyes stared straight at Lin Moyu, waiting for an answer from Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu drank a few sips of tea before slowly saying, "Do you remember the old man in green robe riding a green bull that I told you about?" Guhan Yu's eyes lit up. "You mean that one?" Looking at his expression, Lin Moyu already understood that Guhan Yu must have known about the existence of the old man in green robe. Lin Moyu nodded slightly. "It's that old guy. As for how I did it, don't ask me. I won't tell you even if you ask me. That's what happened anyway. It's not just Eugene who was injured, but also Eugene. Eugene was scared to death anyway. Guhan Yu was so smart." Although Lin Moyu didn't say it explicitly, he actually said a lot. From Lin Moyu's words, it can be heard that even Xiao Jian couldn't stop the old man in green robe. In fact, what descended at that time was just a trace of the old man in green robe. In the information Guhan Yu knew, the old man in green robe was a legendary figure, far from being someone she could contact. She knew that the old man in green robe was very strong, but she didn't expect him to be so strong that even Eugene couldn't stop his aura. Lin Moyu said, "I have already told you what you asked. I hope my answer will satisfy you." Guhan Yu chuckled. "What you said, if I am not satisfied, what can I do?" Lin Moyu smiled and said, "If you are not satisfied, I will ask him for you in person when I become stronger." This made Guhan Yu laugh. She stood up and said, "Okay, I have done my work. I wish you all the best in Dong Joo. I will leave first. 0. Ask for flowers." Lin Moyu also stood up. "Your husband is about to go to Dong Joo. Don't you show some appreciation?" Guhan Yu looked at Lin Moyu. Under the illumination of the origin of the moon, a layer of snow-like frost appeared on Guhan Yu's face, which looked breathtakingly beautiful. Lin Moyu just looked at her and admired her beauty. After a few breaths, Guhan Yu took a half step forward, hugged Lin Moyu, and whispered in her ear, "Come back alive." After saying that, she kissed Lin Moyu on the face, then left his embrace and turned away with a gust of fragrant wind. 000. In the following days, Lin Moyu's life returned to peace again. 3 days later, Lin Moyu went to the weapon refining master meeting again. According to the agreement between him and Master Lin Huguang, today is not the time for them to meet. I hope I can recover to the realm of the Supreme Tao. If not, it can only be regarded as fate. After a few days, the building of the Weapon Refining Master Association has been repaired and has regained its former bustle. Lin Moyu saw Master Lin Huguang standing in front of the door from a distance, seemingly waiting for someone. Fixed? Lin Moyu walked over with some doubts. Seeing Lin Moyu, Lin Huguang immediately showed excitement and waved to Lin Moyu, "Come on." At this time, Lin Huguang was like a child who was about to get a toy. As a Taoist master, it was indeed a bit strange to show such an expression. Lin Moyu took 2 steps at a time and walked over. "Master Lin, has the origin shuttle been repaired?" Lin Huguang pulled Lin Moyu into the weapon refining room, "Only the last step, waiting for you to come." In the weapon refining room, in addition to Lin Huguang, there were 3 young people, all of whom were Lin Huguang's disciples. Lin Huguang opened the formation of the weapon refining room, isolating the inside and the outside. He said to the 3 people solemnly, "Don't make any noise on the side, take a closer look, how much you can understand depends on you. I have taught you everything that should be taught. If you cannot learn, it only means that you are not suitable for refining weapons. Do you understand?" The 3 of them answered at the same time, "Then I understand." After talking to the 3 disciples, he said to Lin Moyu, "Fellow Taoist Lin, the origin shuttle is now only 1 step away from being completely repaired. This last step is related to whether the origin shuttle can be restored to the Dao Zun realm. In advance, Lin would like to ask, how is fellow Taoist Lin's luck?" Lin Moyu said, "My luck is not bad." I don't know why Master Lin asked this. Lin Huguang said, "The origin shuttle comes from the Tianqian sect, which is different from ordinary magic weapons. Fellow Taoist Lin should know that the Tianqian sect emphasizes the power of faith. We can't get the power of faith now, and later someone came up with a way to use their own luck instead of the power of faith. But luck is illusory, and ordinary Taoist masters cannot sense its strength. I can't do anything, I can only make a preliminary judgment based on the good or bad luck. To be honest, Lin's luck is average, so this last step is to rely on fellow Taoist Lin's luck. So that's how it is, Lin Moyu suddenly realized. The Tianqian sect is famous for using the power of faith, so everything about them is naturally related to the history of faith. It is reasonable that the power of faith is needed to repair the origin shuttle. Lin Moyu said, if so, there is no need for this 770 of trouble, I have the power of faith. Lin Woodwine was stunned for a moment. Fellow Taoist Lin, you said you have the history of faith? Lin Moyu nodded, and he took out a few faith cards with his backhand. These faith cards were made by him personally, and each faith card contains millions of faith powers. There are a total of 10 faith cards, totaling tens of millions of faith history. Lin Woodwine's eyes lit up and blurted out, faith cards. Although he does not have the power of faith, as a master of refining, he has seen a lot of things. In the knowledge system of the refiner, you cannot have it, but you must know it. He recognized that the card in Lin Moyu's hand was a faith card. I didn't expect that fellow Taoist Lin really has the power of faith, then there is no problem. Lin Moyu asked, are these enough? Lin Woodwine said, I don't know if they are enough, I can only try first. Lin Moyu said, it doesn't matter, I still have a lot of belief cards, tell me anytime if you need them. He has the entire world as a foundation, and the power of belief is as vast as the ocean. 10 belief cards are nothing, and a large number of belief cards can be refined in minutes. Be prepared for a rainy day, no matter whether it is enough or not, it will never go wrong to refine some first. The soul has already started to gather the power of belief and refine it into belief cards. In a blink of an eye, pieces of belief cards flew up in response, each containing millions of belief powers. Lin Woodwine held the shrunken origin shuttle in his palm, and the field belief cards danced around the origin shuttle. One after another, the power of belief flowed out of the belief cards and drilled into the origin shuttle. At the same time, a purple flame rose from Lin Woodwine's palm, burning the origin shuttle. In the flame, the history of the letter cup and the origin shuttle merged into one. The last flaw of the origin shuttle was being repaired quickly, and at the same time, a strong and strange aura was growing. The origin shuttle, which was originally badly damaged, has now fully recovered. The addition of the power of faith is like igniting the deepest fire of the origin shuttle, making it shine. The aura of the origin shuttle is getting stronger and stronger, quickly surpassing the heavenly venerable, and it is about to break through to the Tao venerable realm. Bangs rang out, and the faith cards broke one after another. Lin Woodwine's face changed slightly. The faith is not enough. Lin Moyu was prepared, and with a wave of his hand, another 10 faith cards were thrown out. The faith cards completed the relay and continued to provide the power of faith for the origin shuttle. The aura of the origin shuttle was strengthened again, getting closer and closer to the Tao venerable realm, but there was always a line of difference, and it kept getting closer but could never reach it. Bang, bang, bang. The belief cards began to break again. This time, without Lin Woodwine's reminder, Lin Moyu had already thrown out the prepared belief cards. Lin Moyu didn't care how much belief power the origin shuttle needed. Anyway, he had as much as he needed. The accumulation of his own belief power had long reached a terrifying number. Some belief cards were not even a drop in the bucket. Finally, after using hundreds of belief cards and a full 100 million belief powers, the origin shuttle was finally full. It shone on Lin Woodwine's palm, and then it exploded and grew larger. Lin Woodwine's eyes condensed, and the flames in his palm rose, controlling the origin shuttle to keep it at the right size. The right hand turned into fingers and carved complex patterns on the origin shuttle. He didn't speak throughout the whole process. At this moment, he was fully focused and couldn't be distracted. The three disciples of Lin Huiguang also stared at Lin Huiguang's actions with their eyes. This last action contains the essence of the weapon refiner. Lin Moyu didn't know how to refine weapons, so he couldn't quite understand what was going on, but he could feel that Lin Huiguang was using his Dao power to make the final repairs to the formation inside the Origin shuttle. To repair the Origin shuttle, in addition to repairing the damaged shell and restoring the complete shell, the most important thing was to repair the formation. The shell was just the skin, and the formation was the bones. The power of faith that had been integrated into it before was the blood, and none of the three could be missing. It lasted for half an hour, and the breath of the Origin shuttle finally reached the real critical point. With a slight sound, a strong storm blew up in the practice room. The breath of the Dao Zun realm permeated the practice room, and the Origin shuttle was restored to its new state, exuding a strange breath. This breath was different from the breath of ordinary magic weapons. It was fused with the breath of faith power and accompanied by the breath of the Dao. Lin Huiguang admired the Origin shuttle as if he was appreciating a work of art. After a moment, his eyes were blurred, and he kept muttering, "So that's it, so that's it. I understand. It turns out that the magic weapon of the Dao Zun realm is like this." At this moment, the aura of Lin Huiguang was also rising. He realized the secret of refining the magic weapon of Dao Zun realm. As long as he was familiar with it for a while, he would be able to break through to the 7th level and become a master of refining. Becoming a master of refining is the dream of all refiners. In fact, it is the same to become a master of formation and a master of talismans. Lin Moyu felt that he was not a qualified master of talismans, let alone a qualified master of formations. He did not regard becoming a master as a goal at all. He sighed in his heart and said to Lin Huiguang, "Congratulations, Master Lin. I will call you Master Lin from now on." At this time, his three disciples also said in unison, "Congratulations, Master, you are about to become a master." Lin Huiguang laughed and was in a very good mood. Lin can become a master, and I have to thank fellow Taoist Lin. Lin has remembered this favor and will definitely repay it if there is a chance in the future. Lin Moyu smiled and said, "You are polite. I also want to thank Master Lin for practicing the Origin shuttle for me on 3.1. The two of them were polite and chatted for a few more words before Moyu left with the Origin shuttle. Because the Origin shuttle was integrated with Lin Moyu's power of faith, it had been refined when Lin Moyu got it and could be used at any time. On the way back, Lin Moyu passed by Lufeng Chamber of Commerce and found that Lufeng Chamber of Commerce had been repaired and there was a constant flow of people again. There were several people selling tickets at the door. The big ship would arrive in 2 days. If you missed this opportunity, you would have to wait for many years to go to Dong Joo. 2 days later, a big ship flew from afar and stopped in the sky 1,000 kilometers away from Eugene City. The ticket in Lin Moyu's hand shone, and a beam of light shot out, pointing directly at the big ship. For a while, many people rushed out of Eugene City and headed towards the big ship. Lin Moyu also said in a deep voice, "It's time to set off." One person after another was running on the land. No one was allowed to fly within the 1,000-kilometer range of the Jade Sword, otherwise they would be attacked by the Jade Sword. Lin Moyu was an exception. He was recognized by the Jade Sword and could fly freely. However, the first bird to stick out gets shot, and he didn't want to attract attention, so he just walked among the crowd. Some attention can be paid, but some attention is unnecessary. Lin Moyu was not in a hurry. As long as he could get on the ship, the large ship of the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce would stop here for half a day, and then set off again after half a day to the next stop. The large ship of the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce would stop at one stop after another, and would stop in front of dozens of large cities in Nanzhou along the way. The entire route almost crossed most of Nanzhou. Finally, it came to the northeast of Nanzhou, crossed the vast sea of boundaries, and finally entered Dong Joo. Lin Moyu saw the large ship from afar. The ship was very large, more than 100,000 meters long, and stopped in the air, like an aerial city, an absolute behemoth. Lin Moyu could feel that this ship itself was an extremely terrifying magic weapon. If it was fully launched, it would be no problem to exterminate the clan. In addition to the ship itself being powerful enough, the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce also arranged a number of Daozuan to follow the ship to ensure safety. When it was still 100 kilometers away from the ship, Lin Moyu saw a rune engraved on the hull. 07. This rune is a very simple rune, and almost every practitioner can understand it. The meaning it represents is a simple 3-foot. To be precise, this rune represents the number of this ship, number 1. Lu Fengqing said that there are a total of 4 large ships like this in the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce, called hurricane warships, numbered from 1 to 4. The 4 large ships are used to travel back and forth between the 4 continents of the southeast, northwest, and northeast for trade. Lu Fengqing accidentally let it slip at the time that their Lu family started with these 4 hurricane warships and eventually developed into its current scale. The name of the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce also came from this, and the wind in it refers to the hurricane warship. As he kept approaching the hurricane warship, Lin Moyu deeply felt a sense of desolation. This desolate breath went straight to the soul and impacted the mind. Lin Moyu knew very well that only after countless years of refinement could he hone this sense of desolation. Not everyone can sense the sense of desolation. Only people like him who have strong spiritual perception and keen soul can feel it deeply. This big ship has an extremely long history. It looks new on the surface, but it was actually renovated later. No matter how you do it, you can't cover up the years. Time speaks. Lin Moyu stopped and did not get on the ship immediately. He stopped only 10,000 meters away from the hurricane warship, quietly feeling the desolate atmosphere and admiring the hurricane warship at the same time. This warship has experienced many terrible battles. There are countless scars on it. Even if it is repaired, it is difficult to erase the traces of the past. It has killed countless strong men, and many Daozun died in front of it. The Daozun's avenue is like a trophy, collected by it. Lin Moyu felt thrilling in the vast atmosphere, as if he saw those magnificent battles. He stood for several hours, motionless. On the warship, a Daozun from Lufeng Chamber of Commerce stood at the bow. He looked at Lin Moyu and smiled slightly. Interesting little guy. Beside him, there was a young man with the peak supreme cultivation. The young man was a little confused. Uncle Wu, what is he doing? Uncle Wu smiled. He has a spiritual perception beyond ordinary people and can feel the past of the warship. The young man was slightly surprised. So powerful, could it be that he can see the past? Uncle Wu shook his head. It's not really seeing the past, just feeling the past. Time can speak, but it only speaks to those who can understand. The young man said, "Oh," and seemed not to understand. Uncle Wu smiled and said, "It doesn't matter if you don't understand some things. After all, everyone's path is different. The one who can make it to the end is the winner." This little guy has a strong sense of spirituality. When he gets on the boat, you have a chance to get in touch with him more and see if you can make friends. If you want to grow smoothly in this world, friends are indispensable. If you can't become friends, then don't become enemies. The young man is not stupid. He understood the meaning of Uncle Wu's words. Lin Moyu under the boat has a limitless future. Don't be an enemy of him. The young man immediately said, "Thank you, Uncle Wu, for your teachings. Feng Yuan understands." Uncle Wu nodded with satisfaction. After your sister comes out of seclusion, learn more from your sister. You can learn a lot. Lu Feng Yuan immediately nodded in response, looking very obedient. Lin Moyu stood for several hours, finally came to his senses, and took out the boat ticket. A beam of light shot out from the warship and fell on him, and Shiji pulled him into the warship. As Moyu approached, Uncle Wu narrowed his eyes slightly. "So young?" Lu Feng Yuan asked, "Is he very young?" Uncle Wu nodded, "More than 2,000 years old." Lu Feng Yuan opened his mouth wide. How is this possible? A 2,000-year-old Tianzuan, how talented must this be? It is simply unimaginable. He considers himself a genius, and has used up 3,000 galleries just to cultivate to the peak of the supreme. He has a good chance of becoming a Tianzuan within 5,000 years, which is already a very talented existence, and is not inferior to any Tianjiao on the Origin continent. On the Origin continent, those who can become Tianzuan within 10,000 years are all geniuses. If you achieve the status of a heavenly venerable within 5,000 years, you can be called a heavenly pride. But what is a heavenly venerable who is over 2,000 years old? A top heavenly pride? Lu Fengyuan really wanted to call him a monster. Lu Fengyuan murmured, "Is his talent stronger than that of my sister?" Uncle Wu said, "It's hard to say, at least it's similar, not too far behind. You see, there are always people better than you. There are too many geniuses in this world. You must not be complacent." Lu Fengyuan also sighed, with a little helplessness. "Before, I only thought that my sister was a 900-meter mountain, but now there is a bigger one. I am so miserable." Uncle Wu laughed and ignored it. Lu Fengyuan has been used to smooth sailing since he was a child, and it's not bad to suffer a little setback occasionally. When Lin Moyu arrived on the boat, someone from the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce came to greet him immediately. At this time, Uncle Wu suddenly said, "You all should leave." His words were orders, and the people from Lufeng Chamber of Commerce immediately left. Uncle Wu came to Lin Moyu and personally entertained him. Lin Moyu saluted Uncle Wu, Sr. "My friend, please let me see your boat ticket." Uncle Wu was very polite to Lin Moyu and had a very good attitude. In his mind, Lin Moyu would sooner or later become a Taoist master and become an existence at the same level as himself, or even surpass himself. Lin Moyu handed the boat ticket to Uncle Wu, and Uncle Wu was surprised when he saw it. Lu Fengyuan on the side suddenly said, "It's actually the ticket for room number 3. Uncle Wu nodded. "Yes, there is no problem with the ticket. It is indeed for room number 3. My friend, I want to ask, how much did you spend on this ticket?" Lin Moyu said, 10,000 third-level fine origin crystals a day. Uncle Wu chuckled. "This old guy's price is fair. My friend, don't think it's expensive. The ticket for room number 3 is worth this price. You will know it later. Fengyuan, you will lead the way. Remember to introduce the situation on the ship to my friend." Lu Fengyuan immediately understood and stretched out his hand to invite, "Dao Yu, please follow me." He traveled through a vast number of formations, most of which were very secretive. If it weren't for his strong spiritual perception, even a formation master would have difficulty discovering these formations. Lu Fengyuan led the way in front, walking more casually. These formations would not be easily triggered, so there was no need to be too careful. No space formations were used inside the warship. Lin Moyu guessed that it was because the internal formations were very dense, with formations within formations. Moreover, these formations were all weapon formations, which required stable space support, so they could not accommodate space formations. In addition, the Hurricane warship was large enough and did not need any space formations to expand the space. The two had to pass through most of the warship and go to the front of the warship. The third floor room was located near the bow. While Lu Fengyuan led the way, he also introduced the situation in the warship to Lin Moyu. Battleship number 1 is 100,800 kilometers long and has 3 lower floors and 4 upper floors. The upper 4 floors are where all passengers can move around, and the first and second floors are where passengers live. There are 10,000 ordinary rooms, each accommodating 4 people. There are 1,000 superior rooms, each accommodating 2 people. There are 100 special rooms, each accommodating 1 person. Lin Moyu smiled. "It seems that mine is a special room." Along the way, we did see a lot of rooms with more than 1 person living in them. According to Lu Fengyuan's introduction, if it was full, there would be more than 40,000 passengers on this Hurricane warship. If we count that many people sold multiple tickets and used their own rule world to bring a large number of people to Dong Joo, at least 100,000 people would go from Nanzhou to Dong Joo this time. 100,000 people is not a lot, but it is not a small amount either. Given the vastness of Dong Joo, there are very few people in a field. Even in Nanzhou, there are more than 100,000 people in any small town. But most of the people in Nanzhou are ordinary people. Those who go to Dong Joo are all cultivators, not ordinary people, which is not a small number. Lu Fengyuan didn't know what Lin Moyu was thinking, but followed Lin Moyu's words and said, "You are in room number 3. If I remember correctly, this ticket should be in the hands of Elder Lu Fengqing. The rooms numbered before the 10 are special rooms among special rooms, which are different from other special rooms." Lin Moyu showed a little interest. "Please tell me in detail." Lu Fengyuan said, "The first difference is the origin power. In fact, there is a formation in each room. The formation will refine the origin power of the sun origin and the moon origin and supply it to the practitioners in the room. However, the effect of this formation is different. Specifically, the concentration of origin power in the special room is 10 times that of the advanced room, and the advanced room is 10 times that of the ordinary room. The top 10 special rooms are 10 times that of other special rooms. If the ordinary room is regarded as a first-level origin spiritual vein, then your room is at least a fourth-level origin spiritual vein. Your cultivation in it is equivalent to cultivating in a fourth-level origin spiritual vein, and the effect is excellent. From now on, until Dong Joo, it will take about 100 days. This 100 days is enough to equal your usual decades of hard work." In Lu Fengyuan's introduction, Lin Moyu gradually understood the various special features of his room. In addition to the different concentrations of origin power, there are also some other preferential treatments. The third floor of the warship is an area for practitioners to eat, drink, and have fun. It provides a variety of spiritual food and a large number of entertainment venues, all of which cost money. Passengers in the special rooms can get a 20% discount on any consumption here. The spiritual food provided by Lufeng Chamber of Commerce is not ordinary spiritual food, which can't be eaten outside. Many spiritual foods have a very good auxiliary effect on cultivation. The only problem is that they are expensive. In addition, various entertainments are also very attractive. The Lufeng Chamber of Commerce travels across the 4 continents, providing many things that humans don't have here, some unspeakable entertainment that can satisfy many special desires. The 4th floor of the warship is the trading field opened by the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce, where you can buy various goods. It is also not an ordinary commodity. Many things that cannot be bought outside can be bought here. Many people also come on board for this purpose and buy things. And guests in special rooms can still buy here at a 20% discount. If there are suitable things, as long as you buy a few pieces, it is worth the ticket price. Calculated in this way, the price of my ticket is indeed not expensive, and Lu Fengqing did not cheat himself. As for the lower 3 floors, it is the area of the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce, and passengers cannot enter. Under Lu Fengyuan's introduction, Lin Moyu came to the door of room 3. The room was shrouded by a formation, and the ticket was the key. Lu Fengyuan finally whispered mysteriously, "Fellow Taoist Lin, you can go to the 3rd floor when you have time. There are some areas inside that are very interesting. At least they cannot be seen in the South Continent." Lin Moyu showed a hint of interest. "Thank you, fellow Taoist Fengyuan. I will definitely go and see it when I have time." Lu Fengyuan smiled, "Then I won't disturb fellow Taoist Lin's rest. Call me anytime if you have anything." Lin Moyu opened the formation and entered his room. The room was not too big, only 10 meters long and wide. The room was filled with mist, and these airs were all the origin calendar. Lin Moyu took a breath and absorbed a lot of the origin power, muttering to himself, "The origin power is indeed rich." The origin power he absorbed was quickly replenished, and the formation on the top of the room continued to operate, spewing out the origin power continuously. The sun's origin was extremely hot, and after the formation transformation, it became gentle, which was not much different from the ordinary origin calendar. However, Lin Moyu could still feel the difference, as there was still some hot air inside. This formation is extraordinary, as it can refine the origin of the sun. Lin Moyu studied the formation on the roof and found that this formation was actually only responsible for sending the origin power to the room, and it was not the one that truly refined the origin of the sun. Lin Moyu had a guess in his mind. He felt that the hurricane warship was not actually made by the ancestors of the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce. The ancestors of the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce should have established the huge Lufeng Chamber of Commerce after acquiring 4 hurricane warships. He carefully thought about Lu Fengyuan's words, and he got a lot of information from Lu Fengyuan's words. On this hurricane warship, there is no need to worry about safety issues, and he can use the various resources on this warship, Ma Qian Zhao, to greatly increase the speed of cultivation. At this time, he was not far from the middle-level Tianzuan, and perhaps he could be promoted when he arrived in Dong Joo. After docking for an hour, the hurricane ship slowly started and then began to accelerate towards the next stop. Its speed kept increasing, getting faster and faster, and the scenery on the earth was quickly left behind. On the balcony of Lin Moyu's room, looking at the scenery that was rapidly retreating through the formation, Eugene City had disappeared in the blink of an eye. It's amazing that the flying speed can reach such a level without touching the laws of space. After flying for a while, the unique source waterfall of the chaotic zone appeared in front. The hurricane warship rushed directly over. It wanted to cross the chaotic zone. The warship was glowing all over, and the formations lit up one after another, covering the entire warship. The chaotic zone had no effect on it at all. Uncle Wu saw Lu Fengyuan coming back and smiled. "Fengyuan, do you know who that person was just now?" Lu Fengyuan was slightly stunned. "I know his last name is Lin." Uncle Wu laughed. "His name is Lin Moyu." Lu Fengyuan's face suddenly changed and he exclaimed, "He is Lin Moyu? The super genius that my sister mentioned?" Uncle Wu laughed. "I said, how can a 2,000-year-old Tianzuan be so easy to see? I checked the identity on his ticket and it was indeed him." Lu Fengyuan murmured, "So this is the person my sister likes." Uncle Wu smiled even more brightly, half joking. "If your sister hears you saying this, you will probably be beaten half to death." Lu Fengyuan didn't care and waved his hand. "Anyway, she's not here, Uncle Wu. You won't betray me, right?" Uncle Wu shook his head. "That's hard to say. See if you can buy me off." Lu Fengyuan's face suddenly collapsed. With a bitter face, "Uncle Wu, you can't do this to me. Who let my sister praise him to the sky? Of course I thought my sister liked him." Uncle Wu smiled and said, "Anyway, build a good relationship with him. It shouldn't be bad for you. I can feel that he has a strong luck. Our ancestors have long said that we must make friends with people with strong luck and stay away from people with weak luck." Lu Fengyuan nodded. "I understand. I know what to do." Uncle Wu said, "Although your cultivation aptitude is not as good as Feng Yao's, when Feng Yao takes the helm of the Chamber of Commerce in the future, you can at least assist him. In this way, your position in the family can also be consolidated." Lu Fengyuan nodded, indicating that he understood. 150 Although the relationship between the members of the Lu family is good, the rules are strict. Even the direct descendants must abide by many things. This is also the way of survival of the Lu family. Just like doing business, fairness is important. Through the formation, Lin Moyu looked at the familiar chaotic area. He had stayed here for a while and had some magical experiences. Turning his head, someone came out from the balcony on the right. That was the passenger in room 4, a Taoist. The Taoist glanced at Lin Moyu, with a hint of doubt in his eyes. It seemed that he was wondering why a Tianzuan had a room number not ahead of his own. Where did Tianzuan get so many origin crystals to buy tickets for the special room? Then he was stunned on the spot. He saw that Lin Moyu was only more than 2,000 years old. A Tianzuan who was more than 2,000 years old, that is not something that ordinary people can reach. For such a genius, his eyes couldn't help but change, and he nodded slightly to Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu had guessed what was going on from the change in the other party's eyes. "It seems that I have to find a way to hide my age, otherwise this alone is a big flaw. There are many geniuses in the origin continent, but there are only a handful of people who can reach the heavenly venerable at the age of more than 2,000. This alone can confirm his identity. The identity of the son of Tying is too sensitive. If one's own cultivation is insufficient, try not to expose it. After a short moment, the warship crossed the chaotic area, and then the speed began to increase again, flying towards a big city of the Tianjin sect. Across the formation, Lin Moyu faintly felt the power of the Tying origin, and he knew that the Tying origin was about to appear. Before the Sun origin appeared, he returned to the room and did not go out. After a moment, the Tying talisman on the center of his eyebrows was revealed, and Lin Moyu knew that the Tying origin had appeared between heaven and earth. The power of the origin ejected from the formation also changed. The scorching heat in the power of the origin disappeared, and it was replaced by the coldness of the Tying origin. Lin Moyu is very interested in the formation in the warship that can refine the power of origin. If he can master this formation and set it up in his own forces in the future, he can use the Sun origin and the Moon origin to remind his forces of the power of origin. Even if the level of the origin spirit vein is not enough, they can be used to make up for it. The two origins of the Sun and the Moon are the two largest and most inexhaustible origins in the origin continent. Lin Moyu also knew that he could only think about it. It is impossible for Lufeng Chamber of Commerce to give him this formation. Whether he buys it or uses other methods, it is unlikely that he can even take a look at it. This formation is too magical and unheard of. It is better to practice than to think too much. Lin Moyu continuously absorbs the power of the origin and begins to comprehend the law of the avenue. A large amount of the power of the origin enters the body, and through the origin, he comprehends the avenue, which is much more efficient than the outside world. Lin Moyu can clearly sense that his understanding of the avenue is constantly deepening, and his realm is also improving. It is just because he has comprehended 3 avenues. In addition to the immortal avenue of his own life, the avenue of time and the avenue of space are extremely difficult to comprehend, avenues. The difficulty of practicing any avenue is much greater than that of ordinary avenues, not to mention that he has to practice 3 at the same time. It is precisely because of this that the difficulty of his practice has increased significantly after he entered the Tianzuan realm. If there is no special opportunity, it may take thousands of years to improve a small realm. Compared with his previous practice speed, it is simply a world of difference. Lin Moyu felt that the hurricane ship might be his chance. After practicing for a night, Lin Moyu left the room and went to the 3rd floor of the ship. The 3rd floor was very lively, with a large number of practitioners here. Listening to their conversation, Lin Moyu learned that the ship had docked twice last night to welcome 2 new groups of passengers. At this time, it was flying towards a new city. After passing through 5 more big cities, it would be able to leave the territory of the Tianjin sect in less than 2 days. At this time, many passengers were eating at the table. They were enjoying delicious spiritual food, which had a lot of origin power overflowing. Eating these spiritual food would be of great benefit to their cultivation. At one of the tables, 4 people were sitting around. The 4 people were wearing exactly the same clothes, with a sword embroidered on their sleeves. It's the people of the Tianjin sect. Lin Moyu thought in his heart, and when he looked around, he also saw people from the Hanshui Holy Land and people from the Wendao sect. These 3 forces are the top forces in the origin continent, and their momentum is higher than others. In addition, there are some people from other forces. Many people from various forces will go to Dong Joo. Dong Joo is a big piece of fat meat, and they all want to take a bite there. Suddenly Lin Moyu narrowed his eyes, turned his head quickly, and then walked towards the 4th floor. Dao Zun Wei Xian, I didn't expect him to come too. Lin Moyu just saw Wei Xian. Fortunately, he reacted quickly and turned around and left when Wei Xian didn't find him. If he was found by Wei Xian, it would be fine, but he would be in trouble. Wei Xian would definitely ask himself why he didn't go to find him. The token given to him at that time was completely blocked by himself. Wei Xian's meaning was very clear: either become his person or kill himself. In Lin Moyu's mind, people like Wei Xian can't get along. There is another person next to Wei Xian, a female Dao Zun, who also comes from the Seven Colors layer. After Lin Moyu left, Wei Gu seemed to react and looked in the direction where Lin Moyu was originally. But after looking, he didn't find anything, thinking that he felt wrong. "Brother Wei, what's the problem?" The female Dao Zun next to Wei Xian asked. Wei Xian shook his head slightly. "Nothing. Sister Kai Yin took the initiative to apply to go to Dong Joo this time. Is it to find a disciple?" Elder Kai Yin sighed. "Yes, the disciple born with a jade soul was missed before. I used a magic weapon to calculate. Maybe I can find a suitable candidate in Dong Joo." Wei Xian said, "Dong Joo is not peaceful. We must be more careful when we get there. It is common for Taoist masters to fall there." Kai Yin didn't care, but smiled. "Brother Wei, tell me again, is the little guy you met in the Boundary Sea really that talented? Can I accept him as a disciple?" Wei Xian sighed. "It's difficult. It was really a narrow road for enemies." Lin Moyu didn't expect to meet Wei Xian here. Lin Moyu still avoided this villain, especially here. If he dared to attack him outside, he could kill him to prevent future troubles. "I hope you are lucky," Lin Moyu said softly and came to the fourth floor of the warship. The layout of the fourth floor is a bit similar to that of the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce, but there is no concept of senior members. On the warship, there are only ordinary rooms, senior rooms, and special rooms. Passengers in special rooms can get 20% off. Passengers in senior rooms can only get 10% off, and passengers in ordinary rooms have no discount. It's not that the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce divides guests into different levels, but this world has always been like this. There are not too many people on the fourth floor, perhaps because there are not many guests on the ship now. However, the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce has not released all the goods at this moment. Only after all the passengers are on board and the warship enters the Boundary Sea will all the goods be released. The goods that can be bought at this moment are still limited. When Lin Moyu came to the counter, someone from the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce came up to him. He was a young man who was only in the godly realm. He looked like he was 1,000 years old, but he looked very young. The young man was very polite. "Hello, senior, what do you need?" Lin Moyu said, "I want a magic weapon that can cover my appearance in the Bone Age realm." The young man continued to ask, "I don't know what realm you are in." Lin Moyu said, "Heavenly realm." "I'll find it for you right away. Please wait." The young man began to look for a suitable magic weapon. After a while, the young man projected the magic weapon he found in front of Lin Moyu through the formation. "There are only 3 magic weapons suitable for you at present. The first one, Xian Guan Yi, a magic weapon in the Supreme Realm, can block detection below Dao Zone, and the price is 2,000 main-level origin crystals. The second one, the Dark Mask, a mid-level magic weapon in the Heavenly Realm, can block detection below Dao Zone, and the price is 2,000 third-level origin crystals. It has a shortcoming, that is, when wearing it, its own power will be suppressed, about 30%. A mid-level magic weapon in the Tianzuan Realm is sold at the same price as a magic weapon in the Supreme Realm. Lin Moyu felt a little strange at first, but it was not strange after knowing its shortcomings. This magic weapon should be a defective product, otherwise it would not be sold at this price. Then his eyes moved to the third magic weapon. The young man also began to introduce the third magic weapon. The third one, Twilight Stone, a high-level magic weapon of Tianzuan, can block the detection of those below the fourth realm of Daozuan, and the price is 5,000 third-level origin crystals. It also has a shortcoming, that is, the effect can only last for 6 hours each time it is used, and you need to wait for 6 hours before you can use it again. Another defective magic weapon, otherwise it would not be more than this price. Lin Moyu asked, "Is there no flawless magic weapon?" The young man thought for a while. "There should be, but it has not been released yet. It may have to wait until all the passengers are gathered and the warship reaches the Boundary Sea before it can be released. Senior can come and have a look at it then." Lin Moyu knew this rule. "Then I will buy the Twilight Stone first, and we will talk about the future later. I have set it up." Although the Twilight Stone has defects, it is not unusable. Buy it first to deal with the emergency, and buy it again when there is a suitable one in the future. Now Lin Moyu is rich and powerful, and a mere 5,000 third-level origin crystals are nothing at all. Not to mention that they are only ordinary level origin crystals. Even if they are boutique level ones, they are nothing. Lin Moyu took out 4 6th-level origin crystals. That's enough. The young man's eyes lit up and nodded immediately. Enough, enough. Passengers in the special room can get a 20% discount, and only 4,000 third-level origin crystals are enough. Lin Moyu used 4 6th-order origin crystals to settle the bill, and its value was obviously more than 4,000 third-order origin crystals, so how could it not be enough? The young man collected the origin crystal and quickly sent the Twilight Stone through the formation. Lin Moyu left a soul mark on the Twilight Stone and completed the recognition of the master. As long as it is activated, the Twilight Stone can form a special protective force to prevent others from snooping on his information. Whether it is bone age, realm, or appearance, it will be obscured. No one below the 4th realm of Dao Zun can detect it. Lin Moyu suddenly felt a familiar breath coming from the stairs. Wei Xian actually came to the 4th floor. He immediately activated the Twilight Stone, and a special and invisible power enveloped his whole body. In the eyes of others, Lin Moyu is like a mysterious person shrouded in clouds and mist. No information can be seen, even his appearance can't be seen clearly. Wei Xian passed by Lin Moyu and went to another counter. He didn't find anything unusual during the process. There are too many people like Lin Moyu who hide their identities. It's not strange at all. When the young man saw Lin Moyu using the Twilight Stone, he thought he was testing the magic weapon. He didn't feel strange at all, and continued to ask, "I wonder if the senior needs anything else." Lin Moyu said, "Is there anything that can improve the efficiency of cultivation?" 0. Asked for flowers. The young man immediately started looking and soon found a few. They were all good things that could speed up cultivation. Lin Moyu waved his hand and bought them all. There is no shortcut to cultivation, but it is okay to get some small assistance. These things can only speed up the cultivation effect by 10% to 20% at most, and it depends on yourself in the end. Of course, there are also good things that can directly improve the realm, but Lin Moyu avoids them like snakes and scorpions. This kind of thing will only affect the foundation and must not be used. Lin Moyu bought a bunch of things and spent 20,000 third-level origin crystals, which is equivalent to 2 7th-level origin crystals, which is simply a drop in the bucket. But to this young man, Lin Moyu is an absolute big customer, and his attitude has become more and more polite. The way Lin Moyu buys things is simply a big local tyrant. It's just missing 4 words written on his forehead: "I have money." Lin Moyu asked, "Are there any spiritual materials above the Tianzuan realm?" The young man showed some helplessness. "Not at the moment. Based on past experience, there may be one after everyone has arrived, but I can't guarantee it." "Senior, please come back and take a look then. Spiritual materials are too rare. Even the Lufeng Chamber of Commerce cannot just take them out casually." Lin Moyu actually just asked casually, "It doesn't matter whether there are any or not. After a few days, when everyone is gathered and the warship arrives at the Boundary Sea, come back to take a look." After buying things, Lin Moyu left and returned to the 3rd floor. On the 3rd floor, he spent tens of thousands of origin crystals and bought a lot of spiritual food. These spiritual foods are also helpful for cultivation, but the greater role is to feed Xiao Yuan and Xiao Ye. Spiritual food is the same as the treasures on the 4th floor. There are still many rare spiritual foods that have not been taken out. They will appear only after everyone is gathered. After returning to the room, Lin Moyu let Xiao Ye and Xiao Wu out and threw the spiritual food to them. He started to practice again, and with the help of the treasures he bought before, the speed of practice was accelerated. As time went by, the Hurricane warship passed through the territories of top forces such as Tianling Sect, Lifengjiu Dancers, Juchangshan Holy Land, etc. It kept stopping in various cities. There were more and more people on the ship, and it was getting more and more lively. Lin Moyu has been in the room these days and has not gone out. Xiaoye and Xiaowu have no identity, so they can only stay in the room. Fortunately, they have enough toys to play with, and sometimes they will go back to the rule world to change their taste. Finally, 20 days after Lin Moyu boarded the ship, the warship officially left Nanzhou and entered the Boundary Sea.